Chapter 126. As a great person who bought breakfast, Yang Chung felt that it was impolite for the beauties to not line up to welcome him, but he was more curious about what these women were discussing. Therefore, after putting down his breakfast, he moved closer to Lu Mingyu's desk. Zhao Hongyan's eyes were sharp. Seeing Yang Chung walk over, she waved at him and said, "Yang Chung, come and congratulate Sister Mingyu. Say a few auspicious words for me." "What are you congratulating me for?" Yang Chung asked with a smile. "Sister Mingyu has been promoted to our public relations department head. How is it? Awesome, right?" A pretty girl said happily. Yang Chung was a little surprised. He looked at Lu Mingyu, who was surrounded by all the women. She seemed to have a helpless and shy expression, but her pair of beautiful eyes revealed joy from the bottom of her heart. "You should be congratulated," Yang Chung said as he pointed at the pile of breakfast he bought. "Fortunately, I had the foresight to buy 2 more tea eggs for breakfast today. As a congratulatory gift for Department Head Lu." The group of beauties immediately protested against Yang Cheng's shamelessness. What kind of congratulatory gift was this? Why would he give 2 eggs to a woman? Lu Mingyu wasn't used to this kind of situation where she was surrounded by stars. After standing up and thanking her sisters, she begged them to return to their seats and not delay work time. Yang Chung asked curiously, "Sister Mingyu, you became the department head. Then what did Department Head Mo do? Was he fired?" Lu Mingyu rolled her eyes at him. "What nonsense are you talking about?" Of course, Department Head Mo was transferred to a higher position. What position? I think it was because Department Head Ma from the Ministry of Finance took the initiative to resign due to old age. This time, Department Head Mo directly took over the position of the head of the Ministry of Finance. And because of the CEO's outstanding performance during his recuperation, the board of directors unanimously agreed to appoint Department Head Mo as the first vice president. In the whole of Ulay International, the only vice president. The overseas branches only have directors. Zhang Kai had already dug out a red bean bun from the pile of breakfast. Department Head Ma resigns because of old age? Yang Chung was amused. How could that old man resign for that reason? He looked at Lu Mingyu with deep meaning. Sure enough, the latter blushed and turned her head away. But this was also good. It wouldn't be awkward if they bumped into each other in the company. He didn't expect that Lu Mingyu and Mo Chinny would be promoted in just over a month, and Mo Chinny would take on 2 important responsibilities. Yang Chung felt that he really had the potential to be a lucky general. At this moment, Mo Chinny, dressed in a silver gray suit, walked in from the door. She seemed to have dressed up meticulously today. Her hair was meticulously combed and tied up in a neat bun. She took off her contact lenses and replaced them with ordinary and delicate gold-framed glasses. A bright platinum diamond necklace hung around her snow-white neck. Beneath the black lace stockings was a matching pair of silver-gray high heels, which made her slender legs look especially alluring. While she was intellectual and charming, she also had a bit of feminine majesty. All the girls in the public relations department quieted down. They looked at Mo Chinny with blessings and worship as she walked into the big office. Obviously, Mo Chinny had an enviable halo in the hearts of young girls. She became the second most powerful person in a listed company before the age of 30. Mo Chinny glanced around. When she saw Yang Chung and Lu Mingyu, she paused. It was rare for her to show a gentle and beautiful smile in a workplace. "Mingyu, have you received the promotion notice?" Lu Mingyu nodded gratefully. "Thank you, Department Head. No need to thank me. Your performance is well known. Passing the resolution is a matter for the board of directors. I'm just responsible for routine recommendations. And from today onwards, you're also a department head. You'll be promoted to the company's top management. You don't have to be so careful." Mo Chinny smiled easily. The surrounding girls also showed a kind smile. Lu Mingyu shook her head. Her eyes were a little moist. "In the past 2 to 3 years, many people doubted me and talked behind my back. But Department Head Mo, you've always believed in me and never mentioned anything. I'm really grateful. I know you've done a lot for us. It's just that you didn't say it." Many girls also nodded in agreement. Obviously, everyone had been taken care of by Mo Chinny. In this undercurrent of the business world, women always had too much helplessness. A boss who was willing to protect their rights and interests deserved to be supported and respected. Mo Chiani disapprovingly smiled. That's nothing. RULA International is a women-run company. If we didn't trust and help each other, we definitely wouldn't be able to get to where we are today. This is what the CEO taught me. I hope you guys can also remember it. The girls nodded. They put away their usual laughing and joking faces and listened seriously. Mo Chiani looked at everyone with satisfaction. She then said to Lu Mingyu, Mingyu, I'm going to the office to organize my things. Come to the office in an hour. I'll hand over your work. You also tidy up your work position. Later in the afternoon, the CEO will talk to you personally. Don't be nervous. He's just going to understand your thoughts. After she finished delegating some things, Mo Chiani was ready to walk back to the office. But at this time, a younger girl in the office asked with red eyes, Department Head Mo, will you come back? Mo Chiani's footsteps stopped. She was stunned and couldn't say a word. Silly, Department Head Mo isn't leaving the company. You can still see her in the future. Another girl comforted her. But I always feel uncomfortable in my heart. Another female PR worker said with a pout. Coincidentally, all the female PR workers in the office showed a reluctant expression. A few sensitive young girls even had tears in their eyes and started to cry. Mo Chiani closed her eyes hard to hold back the tears that welled up in the corner of her eyes. She forced a smile and said, Everyone, be happy. Just like what Xiaoming said, I'm not leaving the company. If anyone misses me, you can also come to the floor of the Ministry of Finance to find me. As long as it doesn't affect my work, I'll welcome you at any time. Today is the day of my promotion. I've specially dressed up beautifully. Don't make me cry. It'll be ugly if I lose all my makeup. The girls laughed through their tears, but tears still flowed down. Yang Chung looked at the scene in front of him. His heart was slightly touched. He felt warm and comfortable. It was these beautiful faces that formed this group and made this office full of warmth. Yang Chung finally confirmed how wise he was to come to this company. Wasn't this the kind of warmth he wanted to feel? When Mo Chiani walked past him, Yang Chung said from the bottom of his heart, Congratulations. Mo Chiani smiled slightly. Are you glad that you finally don't have to be tortured by me, your boss? Can you play games every day in peace? A little bit, but I'm still reluctant. I'll miss you more in the future. Yang Chung said truthfully. Mo Chiani's face flashed a trace of redness. You have a glib tongue. Fortunately, I don't have to be your boss anymore. After that, she walked back to the office without looking back. The personnel change in the company didn't have much of a change. Perhaps such a transfer wasn't surprising to most people. The only difference was that the two department heads changed their photos at the door of the office. After work in the afternoon, Yang Chung turned off the computer and was ready to go home. At this moment, the phone rang. Yang Chung looked at it. It turned out to be Lin Ruoshi calling. Yesterday afternoon, his wife's temper wasn't very good. After that, he didn't go home for the whole night. He thought that she would be so angry that she wouldn't want to talk to him for a while. He didn't expect her to call so soon. Dear, you finally remembered me. Yang Chung joked. Lin Ruoshi was silent for a while. After a while, she said, Are you still in the company? Yes, what's wrong? My car broke down. I can't move. Lin Ruoshi's car was an original British Bentley Elegance. British cars were famous for their classic and elegant design and exquisite workmanship. Unfortunately, the cars made in this stubborn country had a relatively helpless problem. Compared to its exquisite workmanship, the performance and adaptability of the car were in many aspects inferior to Germany, Japan, and other countries. What was even more embarrassing was that British cars, whether it was Aston Martin, Bentley, or Rolls-Royce, all had some small problems. One of them was various kinds of breakdowns. Of course, there was no need to doubt the technology of these cars. But it was precisely these sophisticated advanced technologies that caused these luxury cars to break down unexpectedly under the influence of many external factors. The most typical example was the British Queen Elizabeth II 10 million pound Bentley. It once left the Queen in the middle of the road and it broke down. In the end, the Queen had no choice but to sit in a Jeep and return home dejectedly. Lin Ruashi's car couldn't move. What did that mean? Of course, it meant that she wanted someone to take her home. Yang Cheng didn't expect such a strange reason to make Lin Ruashi call him. But thinking about it, other than this reason, there was no other reason to call him. In order to avoid being seen by people from other companies, the two of them agreed to meet at the CEO's car half an hour later. At that time, the parking lot would basically be empty. This was because Yulei International didn't allow overtime. Those who wanted to work overtime had to go home. Half an hour later, Yang Cheng leisurely walked to Lin Ruashi's car. In the illuminated parking lot, Lin Ruashi was carrying a light brown Hermes handbag in her hands. She was wearing a casual white gauze dress after work. Her black hair was like ink. She quietly stood beside her red Bentley. She looked delicate and charming. She didn't have the slightest air of a strong woman during the day. Seeing Yang Cheng walking over with a smile, Lin Ruashi's heart was a little twisted. Yesterday, their relationship was strained. Yang Cheng didn't come home for the whole night. She was so angry that she wanted to ignore him for a week or two. But she didn't expect that the car would break down. Moreover, after the car broke down, the first thing she thought of was to call Yang Cheng. Yang Cheng didn't know that a woman had so many complicated thoughts in an instant. Seeing that Lin Ruashi didn't talk to him, he didn't mind. He walked in front of her and reached out his hand. What? Lin Ruashi looked at him in confusion. Car keys, Yang Cheng said with a smile. The car broke down. I can't start it. Lin Ruashi frowned. Yang Cheng hooked his finger. Just give it to me. You can't start it, but that doesn't mean I can't. Chapter 127. Lin Ruashi wasn't happy to hear that. What did he mean by she couldn't start it? But he could. Did the driver of the car have to start it? Or did he think she wasn't as good as him? The woman, who had been proud since she was a child, immediately lost her temper. She snorted and said, I'll give you the key. Let's see how you start it. She then stuffed the key to the Bentley into Yang Cheng's hand. Yang Cheng took it naturally, as if the key in his hand didn't represent this luxury car that was worth millions of yuan, but just an ordinary three-wheeled motorcycle. After opening the driver's door, Yang Cheng got in and pressed the front cover button to lift the front cover. Lin Ruashi saw Yang Cheng's action and was a little suspicious and surprised. What are you going to do to my car? Yang Cheng rolled his eyes at her. This woman didn't seem to be very smart. He said, What else can I do? The car broke down, of course. I have to check and repair it. You know this car? Although Lin Ruashi wasn't very proficient in mechanical cars, she knew what kind of car she liked. This guy didn't even have his own car. She didn't believe that Yang Cheng knew how to repair this luxury car. Yang Cheng ignored her. He leaned over to the engine of the Bentley and looked left and right. After fiddling with the surrounding parts for a while, he thought carefully and said, Does the engine of the car turn off as soon as it is started? Lin Ruashi thought about it. It was indeed like this, so she nodded. Did you just fill up the gas today? Lin Ruashi felt a little strange in her heart. He didn't start the car, so how did he know the condition of the engine? Also, how did he know that she filled up the gas this morning? How did you know? You must have filled up the gas from a different gas station, right? Yang Cheng asked again. Lin Ruashi really didn't want to believe this time that Yang Cheng really knew about this car, because she was really afraid that she would be late for the morning meeting, so she went to a gas station that she hadn't been to before. Oh my God, could it be that other than selling mutton skewers, he was also a mechanic before? Lin Ruashi's mind was filled with naive thoughts. Yang Cheng breathed a sigh of relief. He had finally found the cause of the problem. He said, Your car has a high requirement for gasoline. The gasoline you added today must have a high alcohol content, so the engine can't be started. British cars, especially this kind of delicate car, are especially prone to this kind of strange problem. If it was a broken car, it wouldn't have happened. That is to say, the car is not damaged, and the problem is the gas? Lin Ruashi finally understood. Yang Cheng nodded. Yeah, I ate something I didn't like and threw a tantrum at you. This analogy almost made Lin Ruashi laugh. But thinking that the two of them were still in a tense stage, she immediately restrained her smile and nodded indifferently. Got it. I will ask someone to take care of it tomorrow. Let's go home now. Then she walked in the direction of Yang Cheng's car. When they got in Yang Cheng's car, Lin Ruoshi began to sit still and didn't say a word. Yang Chung was already used to this woman's silence, so he just drove by himself. When they came to the intersection of the Ring Highway, it happened to be a red light. A silver-gray Maserati GT with a roaring engine stopped next to Yang Cheng's car. In the car was a handsome young man wearing sunglasses and a red, open-necked flowery shirt. When he saw the milky white BMW M3 next to him, he was stunned for a moment. Then he saw Lin Ruoshi's almost perfect side profile through the half-open window, and his eyes flashed. The first thing that came to the man's mind was that the person driving the BMW should be a pretty boy. No matter how he looked at it, he didn't look like a rich man, and the difference in appearance with the woman next to him was too big. While feeling a burst of contempt in his heart, he showed a smile that he thought was very handsome, rolled down the window, and shouted, "Brother who drives the BMW M3, do you want to race?" The red light lasted for nearly 2 minutes. The bored Yang Chung glanced at him. What's the benefit? Upper Ring City, all the way to the third intersection of the expressway. If you win, I'll give you 20,000 when I get off the car. If you lose, this lady has to drink with me tonight. As he said that, the man looked at Lin Ruoshi with an evil charm. Frowning, Lin Ruoshi shook her head slightly at Yang Chun. She had received so many ambiguous hints since she was young that she was numb to it. She didn't want to bother about it at all. Yang Ching thought for a moment, nodded and said, "Okay, but the bet has to be changed. If you lose, stop the car and let me kick it." "Hey, do you think you're Superman? If I kick you, I'll break your leg. This is a Maserati. Do you think you're salad?" The man shouted in disdain. Yang Chung didn't talk nonsense with him. "If you don't want to race, then get lost. Let's race. You're finished. My car has been modified. Your woman belongs to me tonight." The man laughed and began to step on the gas pedal. The Maserati GT's engine began to roar again. Lin Ruoshi glared at Yang Chung. If they weren't on the road, she would have gotten off the car immediately. "If you're crazy, why are you using me as a bet? What do you think I am?" Yang Chung smiled and stared at the traffic light in front of him. "It's because I don't like to use you as a bet, so I must bet with him. Don't worry, I don't have the habit of giving my wife to someone else." Without waiting for Lin Ruoshi to speak again, Yang Chung suddenly stepped on the gas pedal. The M3 rushed out like an arrow. The Maserati on the side also started at the same time. Both cars had a V8 engine with a displacement of more than 4 liters. The Maserati GT had a slightly higher displacement, but because it had been modified, there wasn't much of a comparison between the initial numbers. When the two luxury cars entered the highway, they immediately began to speed up. One white and one silver, it was like two dragons crossing the dusk, violently surging through the traffic. Lin Ruoshi only felt a strong push on her back, and her body was uncontrollably pressed against the seat. Although she wasn't a slow driver, her top speed wouldn't exceed 140 kilometers per hour. Normally, when she drove in Zhonghai, it was more like 50 to 60 kilometers per hour. How could she feel the true power of a sports car? Although the maximum speed limit of the two cars was over 300 kilometers per hour, they were still on the highway. While madly stepping on the gas pedal, the biggest test was the control of the car. Lin Ruoshi saw Yang Chung calmly and triumphantly driving forward. She carefully glanced at the speedometer. When she saw the needle pointing to the bright red number 200, she almost screamed, 200. This crazy man was driving 200 on the 90 kilometers per hour speed limit of Zhonghai Ring Highway. The cars on both sides of the car were constantly overtaken. It was almost impossible to see the other cars clearly. The huge difference in speed made the cars in front consciously start to give way. Only the Maserati on the side was also wildly shooting forward. But as the engine speed continued to increase, the speed exceeded 200, 205, 210. The young man on the other side started to sweat, and it was difficult to grasp the road. No matter how good the car was, it still needed to be able to see the road. When the man realized that his car's speed was making it difficult for him to judge the road, fear arose in his heart, and it severely limited the speed of the Maserati. Yang Chung didn't seem to care. When the M3 crazily roared to 240, Yang Chung stopped accelerating. With one hand on the steering wheel and the other on the gear stick, he continuously overtook the cars in front of him and continuously shuttled through the gaps like the most sensitive electric current. Lin Ruoshi felt like her heart was about to jump out of her chest. The excessive speed made her feel like everything around her was starting to slow down. Although she felt very disappointing, Lin Ruoshi couldn't help it. She softly asked, Can you drive slower? If I'm slow, he'll overtake me. Yang Chang said with a grin, I already said I don't like to give away my wife. Look in front. Don't look at me. Lin Ruoshi saw Yang Chang turn his head and immediately shouted in fright. Yang Chang didn't think that Lin Ruoshi would have such a restless side and couldn't help but chuckle. Lin Ruoshi felt very embarrassed and angrily added, I'm not afraid. I'm afraid that your driver's license will be revoked. You exceeded the speed limit too much. Yang Chang's face was a bit strange. He sighed and embarrassedly said, Baby Ruoshi, I forgot to tell you. Actually, I don't have a driver's license, so I'm not afraid of being revoked. Lin Ruoshi only felt that the world was spinning, and she painfully closed her eyes. She felt that if she looked at this man one more time, she would really go crazy. After 5 or 6 minutes, Yang Cheng stopped the car in the parking area of the 3rd highway intersection. After 2 minutes, the silver Maserati appeared. The young man also kept his word. After discovering the gap in driving skills and courage between the two of them, he didn't run away. Although his face was depressed and unhappy, he still rolled down the window and said, I lost. I'll give you a kick. Yang Cheng didn't stand on ceremony. After getting out of the car, he looked around the Maserati and finally chose to kick the front cover of the car where the Trident sign was. The young man didn't care at all. He yawned and was too lazy to look. He kicked wherever he wanted to kick. Could a human's foot kick steel? Bang! A violent vibration sounded, and the man felt that the whole car seemed to have collapsed. He was so scared that his face turned pale. Looking at the front of the car that was kicked by Yang Cheng, the man suddenly regretted it so much that his intestines turned green. The Maserati's new front cover, which was originally full, had a big hole. You're cheating. Are your feet tied with lead? The man roared loudly. The car was kicked like that, and he was about to cry. But when he saw what Yang Cheng was doing, he was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat. He saw Yang Cheng sitting on the front cover of his car, putting on the shoes he used to kick the car. He even took off his shoes when he kicked the car. Even Lin Ruoshi, who was sitting in the M3, covered her small mouth, her eyes wide open. She saw with her own eyes that Yang Cheng took off his shoes and kicked the car. She thought that Yang Cheng was just playing around, but she didn't expect such a terrifying result. Unconsciously, Lin Ruoshi had a trace of doubt in her heart. Apart from knowing many foreign languages, was this man hiding something? Yang Cheng calmly put on his shoes, smiled at the man who was so scared that he couldn't speak, walked back to the car, and continued to drive home as if nothing had happened. Along the way, Lin Ruoshi looked at him from time to time. She wanted to say something, but stopped. Seeing that Yang Cheng didn't have any intention to explain to her, she didn't have the face to ask him anything. In the end, she could only close her eyes gloomily, but the doubts in her heart gradually increased. Chapter 128. When Mother Wong saw the young couple coming back in the same car, she couldn't help but smile. She thought that the couple had buried the hatchet and were on good terms with each other. She welcomed them in and said, That's good. That's more like a couple. Lin Ruoshi said insensibly, Mother Wong, don't think too much. My car broke down. Mother Wong was so obedient that she had to stiffen when she was about to say it. She couldn't help but shake her head with a wry smile. She whispered to herself, It's good that the car broke down every day. Then she went back to the kitchen to busy herself. Lin Ruoshi pretended not to hear anything. She carried her bag and went upstairs. Halfway up, she suddenly heard Yang Cheng calling her from downstairs. Do you remember to explain to me? Lin Ruoshi pretended not to care and turned around. She asked, What's the matter? Yang Cheng pointed to the simple and fashionable black and white clock on the wall. It's almost time for dinner. Why are you still going up? Lin Ruoshi heard that it was actually because of this reason. She couldn't help but be annoyed and asked unwillingly, "Nothing else? Nothing else? What else do you want to hear?" Yang Chung felt inexplicable. In fact, it couldn't be blamed on Yang Chung. In fact, in Yang Cheng's mind, kicking a car's steel plate into the ground with bare feet was not a big deal. He didn't pay attention to the meaning of it at all. Therefore, he didn't expect that Lin Ruoshi would take such a thing to heart. Lin Ruoshi, on the other hand, thought that Yang Chen wasn't willing to explain to her at all and was purposely putting on an act for her to see. Biting her lips, she glared at him before turning around and running upstairs. Yang Chung couldn't figure it out. He only felt that this woman was getting stranger and stranger. When it was time to eat, Lin Ruoshi was not late, but she was reading a document while eating. She was taking small bites, which made Yang Chung wonder if she forgot to chew and swallowed the food. Mother Wang seemed to be used to Lin Ruoshi's way of eating, so she didn't care much about it. From time to time, she would pick up some food for Yang Chung with a satisfied smile. Yang Chung felt that he had the responsibility to correct this workaholic's bad habits, so he quickly grabbed the documents in front of Lin Ruoshi and put them beside him. "What are you doing? Give it back to me." Lin Ruoshi was looking at the information seriously. Her expression was naturally not good when it was suddenly snatched away. You have to pay attention when you eat. If you do two things at the same time, it's easy to get stomach problems. You work during the day and go home to eat at night. You also work. Aren't you tired? Yang Chung lectured. Lin Ruoshi frowned. It wasn't that she didn't know that this habit was bad for her body, but she didn't pay much attention to it since she was young. Moreover, she didn't like being lectured by Yang Chung. She stubbornly said, "It's none of your business. Give me the document. I'll give it to you after I eat." Yang Chung said. Lin Ruoshi thought, "Okay, then I won't eat. Let's see what you can do." But just when she wanted to say it, she heard Yang Chung say, "If you don't finish 2 bowls of rice, I'll tear the document." Lin Ruoshi almost exploded in anger. She said with a red face, "How can you be like this? I usually only eat 1 bowl of rice. Why should I eat 2 bowls? If you don't eat, I'll tear it right now." As he said that, Yang Chung picked up the document and pretended to tear it. Lin Ruoshi complained to Mother Wang. "Mother Wang, look, Yang Chung is bullying me." Mother Wang acted as if she didn't hear anything. Her eyes drifted to the empty corner of the wall. It was obvious that she didn't want to interrupt. Lin Ruoshi was scared this time. She definitely wouldn't be able to snatch it away from him. She might even break it. Moreover, this guy was capable of anything. Although she could still print a copy if it was torn off, she would have to start all over again. How could she tear it off just like that? Holding back her anger, Lin Ruoshi could only say with difficulty, "I'll eat. You're not allowed to tear it." Yang Chung revealed a satisfied smile. He picked up a piece of steamed cinnamon fish with his chopsticks and put it in Lin Ruoshi's bowl. He said calmly, "Eat more fish to replenish amino acids. It's good for the baby in your stomach." Lin Ruoshi's face flushed red. She shouted angrily, "What nonsense are you saying? Who has a baby in their stomach?" She was about to collapse. How could this man say such shameless things? "Oh, not now, but there will be in the future. Store it first. Store the nutrients first," Yang Chung said with a smile. "Store the nutrients first. Do you think I'm a camel?" Lin Ruoshi looked at the fish in her bowl. When she thought about how it was picked up by that guy's chopsticks, she didn't want to eat it. Just as she was about to take the fish out, she saw Yang Chung suddenly pick up the document and pretended to tear it. "I'll eat it." Seeing this stubborn woman finally start to quietly eat the fish, Yang Chung felt a little proud. He felt a little satisfied, and, at the same time, he picked up a few more dishes for Lin Ruoshi. Lin Ruoshi also accepted her fate. As if she was eating bitter and unbearable Chinese medicine, she stuffed all the food into her mouth. However, her pair of bright eyes were filled with resentment. Yang Chung felt that the current Lin Ruoshi was much more interesting than usual. He reckoned that if the employees of Yulei International saw their iceberg CEO reveal such a timid and pitiful expression, they would definitely be shocked. After eating, Lin Ruoshi angrily went upstairs to continue working. On the other hand, Yang Chung lay on the sofa and watched the news. The content of the news in Huaxia was actually the same every day. First, it was about the countries abroad. The people were living in misery. There were constant wars and natural disasters. In short, people were dying everywhere. Then, it was about the hard work of the leaders of Huaxia. They were compassionate towards the people. The officials were sweating like rain and worked hard at their jobs. Finally, it was about the rapid progress of Huaxia every day. The people were living in peace and contentment. In short, the people of Huaxia were the happiest. The reason why Yang Cheng liked to watch the news was very simple. There wasn't any interesting news to watch overseas. Mother Wang, who was wiping the table, smiled at Yang Cheng and said, "Young master, Mrs. had this problem of not paying attention to her meals since she was young. When old Madam and Madam were alive, they didn't teach her well. I didn't expect young master to teach Miss a lesson today." Yang Cheng lay on the sofa and yawned. He smiled and said, "Actually, we're all adults. What's there to not understand? It's just that she can't put down her pride. Miss often forgets everything when she's working. Young master, if you see anything wrong in the future, feel free to bring it up. I can see that Mrs. Anger is actually only on the surface. She definitely doesn't resent young master in her heart. She might even be very happy," Mother Wang said with a look of understanding. Yang Cheng didn't understand these things. Seeing that the news program on the TV station had ended, he was about to change the channel to watch the recently popular dating show. He wasn't interested in the women on the show, but some of the brothers on the show were quite impressive. They were much more interesting than the political reports of some crosstalk actors. At this moment, the phone rang. Yang Cheng took a look. As he expected, it was Li Jingjing. "Hello, Jingjing." After Li Jingjing called out, "Big Brother Yang," on the other end of the phone, she was silent for a while. Then she hesitantly asked, "Big Brother Yang, the email that our family received today was sent by you, right?" Yang Cheng revealed a trace of a smile. It seemed that Xiang Wei had already sent someone to deliver the things to old Li's house. It was just that old Li and his wife didn't know how to use high-tech items. They could only wait for Li Jingjing to return home before they released the things in the USB. "You can say that. I asked a friend to deliver it." Yang Cheng didn't hide it. Li Jingjing faintly sighed. "I always thought that although group leader Jiang was a bit prideful at times, he shouldn't be a bad person. But I didn't expect him to be that kind of person. The woman in that video is our school's executive vice principal. Normally, everyone is very afraid of her. I didn't expect her and Jiang Shua's father, Jiang Meng, your Lord Principal, Vice Principal, and Year Group Leader. If this show was broadcast in your school, I reckon that the ratings would be quite good." Yang Cheng joked. Li Jingjing, however, thought that Yang Cheng really wanted to do that. She hurriedly said, "Don't, Big Brother Yang. If we do that, the school's atmosphere will be very bad. Everyone won't believe in our school. In fact, most of the teachers and students are working and studying very hard. I don't want everyone's efforts to go to waste." This girl's brain was very simple sometimes. Yang Cheng helplessly smiled and said, "Jingjing, I'm not a paparazzi. Why would I expose that for no reason? The information I gave to your family was just for reference. It's to tell your parents not to trust Jiang Shua and his father too much." Li Jingjing breathed a sigh of relief and chuckled. "Big Brother Yang, you don't know. When the video was played, my parents were scared silly. They were too embarrassed to watch it. But when Mom found out that the person in the video was Group Leader Jiang, her lungs were about to explode. If it wasn't for Dad stopping her, she would have smashed my new laptop. You can keep that video. You can choose to anonymously send it to the Jiang family's father and son. That way, they won't do anything to you. There's no need to make things awkward. Who doesn't have something that can't be exposed to the light?" Li Jingjing softly nodded, obviously agreeing with this view. To be honest, when she saw the video, the simple girl had never seen such a human flesh war before. She didn't expect that the first time she saw it, it would be an acquaintance. Moreover, it was the Jiang family's father and son and the famous Abbess Miju of the school. The three of them were sandwiched like a hamburger and had a threesome, which really shocked the girl. Although she was curious about how Yang Cheng got this information, Li Jingjing, who was used to Yang Cheng's surprises, tactfully didn't ask. At this moment, the heavy burden on her heart was put down, and her words were much lighter. She said, "Big Brother Yang, Are you free these few days? What's wrong? Asked Yang Chung. I want to take you to a place, but I don't know if you're willing. In fact, there's another reason. I want to borrow your car because I want to move some things there. Borrow a car to move things? Any taxi could do that. Of course, Yang Chung wouldn't simply assume that Li Jingjing wanted to go somewhere with him. As the person who bought breakfast, Yang Chung certainly had no reason to refuse a small request from a girl who couldn't even lie, so he readily agreed. After chatting happily with Li Jingjing, Yang Chung stretched and planned to get up and go upstairs to take a shower and sleep. Although the symptoms after the murder had subsided, experience told Yang Chung that adequate rest was still necessary. At this moment, Lin Ruoshi, who was holding a small wallet, walked down the stairs. She looked around and didn't see Mother Wang. She had no choice but to ask Yang Chung, "Where's Mother Wang?" Chapter 129. Yang Chung was just on the phone, so he didn't notice where Mother Wang went. He shook his head and asked, "Why are you looking for Mother Wang?" Lin Ruoshi frowned and bit her lip without speaking, as if she was thinking about something. At this moment, Mother Wang's voice came from the second floor. "Miss, what's the matter?" Yang Chung and Lin Ruoshi looked up at the same time, and they were a little dumbfounded. They saw Mother Wang had changed into a white nightgown and was standing by the railing on the second floor. Her hair was loose, and her face was covered with a layer of white facial mask. She was actually doing a woman's self-care. Lin Ruoshi blushed and said with some rebuke, "Mother Wang, when did you start to do facial masks? Have you forgotten what day it is today?" Mother Wang gave her face a small massage and thought, "Oh, miss, you see, Mother Wang, I'm getting old, and my memory is getting worse. I forgot what you said." Yang Chung saw Mother Wang's white face, and it was a little fresh. No wonder Mother Wang, who was in her 50s, looked like a woman in her 40s. It turned out that she also did this kind of care work on a daily basis. But thinking about it, she took care of such a big family alone. When she was not busy during the day, she had nothing else to do except to care for herself. Then Mother Wang, "Hurry up. I will wait for you," Lin Ruoshi said helplessly. She was unhappy, just like a little girl who was deceived by her elders. Yang Chung felt strange. Why did she have to wait for Mother Wang to do it? Before Yang Chung could ask, Mother Wang said, "Miss, don't wait for me. In the past, there were only the two of us. Now that you're married to the son-in-law, of course, the son-in-law will accompany you to the bookstore to buy books. I still have a lot of nursing to do today. Miss, you should go with the son-in-law." "No," Lin Ruoshi immediately said vigilantly. "I want to be with Mother Wang." Mother Wang walked down the stairs with a smile, and her hands were still rubbing her face. "Miss, I'm getting old, and I can't always accompany you. You and your wife have to live together in the future. I accompanied Miss to the bookstore to buy books, but I couldn't help much. At most, I helped carry 2 bags of books." Son-in-law was different. They were both young people, so they could always talk and exchange opinions. Besides, it's always good to have a man by your side when you go out at night. With the son-in-law protecting you, I can rest assured. Yang Chung suddenly realized that this woman was going to the bookstore to buy books. Although they didn't know each other for a long time, he roughly knew that Lin Ruoshi seemed to like books very much. Last time in her study room, he saw a dazzling collection of books, which was like a small library. When she was in the hospital, she also sent a lot of books to read every week. Unexpectedly, this cold and unapproachable female CEO went to the bookstore to buy books, and she wanted Mother Wang to accompany her, just like a little girl wanted her mother to accompany her to buy books. Lin Ruoshi was suddenly speechless. What Mother Wang said was reasonable. Although she felt very uncomfortable in her heart, she didn't know why she had some inexplicable hope for Mother Wang's proposal. Mother Wang smiled slightly and said to Yang Chung, "Son-in-law, Miss didn't have many friends since she was a child. She likes to read alone and basically goes to the bookstore in Zhonghai every month to buy a lot of books. In the past, when old madam and young madam were here, they would accompany Miss, but now they are gone, and only I am left to accompany Mississippi. Miss is not used to being alone. Now that the son-in-law is here, I can retire with success." After that, Mother Wang gave Yang Chung an encouraging look and slowly walked back upstairs. Lin Ruoxi felt very uncomfortable in front of Yang Cheng when Mother Wang said that. But fortunately, her expression was always cold, so it didn't seem awkward. Yang Cheng knew that she was shy, so he didn't continue to ask more. He said, "Let's go. It's not safe to be alone at night. I'll go with you." "Do you know where the bookstore in Zhonghai is?" Lin Ruoxi asked. "I don't know. Just tell me the way," Yang Cheng said. Lin Ruoxi shook her head slightly. "I'll drive." "Is that important?" Yang Cheng was puzzled. Lin Ruoxi nodded solemnly and said with a serious face, "Very important. I don't want to die in a car accident because of buying books." More than half an hour later, Lin Ruoxi drove a black Mercedes-Benz SLK out of the garage, and the two arrived at the bookstore in Zhonghai. The entire bookstore occupied a building that was more than 20 stories high, and books from all kinds of industries could be found here. The neon lights in the surrounding area were particularly sparse, and the traffic was relatively sparse, but the flow of people outside the bookstore was extremely high. Although material life was extremely rich in this era, the magical invention of books had never been eliminated. Many scientists claimed that traditional books would be eliminated by electronic books and other tools, and that paper would be submerged in the long river of history. But in reality, books were irreplaceable. Since ancient times, there were only a few inventions that had not been eliminated, and one of them was the book. In fact, the reason was very simple. When a person saw an electronic book, they often only had two choices: read it or not read it. And when faced with a book, people could choose the method of reading it as beneficial. You only need to casually play with the pages of the book, and you would roughly know what the book was about. This was something that electronic books could not do. Yang Cheng followed Lin Ruoxi all the way into the bookstore. She had no makeup on, and she was wearing an ordinary white dress that had been washed countless times. Lin Ruoxi's appearance couldn't be more ordinary, but there were always many eyes that would linger on her, and there were even many men's eyes that were filled with naked greed. This made Yang Cheng understand to a greater extent why Lin Ruoxi wanted someone to accompany her. In such a crowded place, it was indeed dangerous for a girl like her to be alone. After standing in the elevator until they reached the humanities and history section on the 10th floor, Lin Ruoxi walked out of the elevator. Seeing that Yang Cheng had been following her, she was not used to it, so she said, "You take care of your own reading and wait at the door." "I'm not here to read books. I'm here to watch you," Yang Cheng said. "I'm not a child. Why are you looking at me?" Lin Ruoxi said unhappily. Yang Cheng didn't care. "You take care of your own reading. Since Mother Wang asked me to watch you, I will naturally do what I said. Don't worry, I won't affect your reading. You can read as much as you want." Lin Ruoxi knew that talking to this rascal would not have a good result. Perhaps he would be angered to death again. So after glaring at him, she began to browse through the rows of bookshelves. Because the entire floor was wide, even though there were many people in the bookstore, most of the time it was quiet and there was no one around. The types of books that Lin Ruoxi read were very diverse. Starting from the 10th floor, she would look at the books on each floor, choose a few books, and then put them into the basket. When she reached the 18th floor, which was the fashion and design section, Yang Cheng's two hands were already carrying two large plastic baskets full of books, adding up to at least 100 pounds. Previously, when she came to the bookstore with Mother Wang, because they were both women, she often couldn't carry a basket of books, so she had to go to the first floor to store them, and then go upstairs to choose, which was very troublesome. This time, when she came with Yang Cheng, Lin Ruoxi felt much more relaxed. No matter what book she chose, she only needed to put it in the basket that Yang Cheng was carrying, and she only needed to choose it herself. She didn't need to think about whether she could carry it or not. At this time, the woman seemed to be very engrossed, completely forgetting how many books she had chosen. She shuttled back and forth between the bookshelves, as if she didn't know fatigue, and browsed through all kinds of books. Many customers who walked past them saw the big basket that Yang Cheng was carrying with both hands, which was full of books, and they all cast an admiring and mourning expression at Yang Cheng. In their opinion, this man's arm must have been about to be broken. However, after seeing Lin Ruoxi's face, those customers also understood. He was probably trying his best to win the girl's favor, so he was desperately pursuing her. Some young male customers saw Yang Cheng's situation, and the idea of flirting with Lin Ruoshi disappeared. This kind of woman couldn't take it. Yang Cheng didn't care, and he didn't consider whether the weight in his hands was beyond the scope of normal people's understanding. As long as the basket could fit, he wouldn't say anything. After passing the fashion and design section, the two finally came to the last floor, which was dedicated to high-quality foreign language books. There were very few people on this floor. After all, most of the books were in French, Spanish, and other languages. Few people could understand them, and even fewer people were willing to read these popular foreign language books. When Lin Ruoshi arrived at this floor, she suddenly thought of Yang Cheng's abnormal foreign language ability that even she couldn't help but admire. She casually asked, "Can you understand all the books here?" Yang Cheng glanced at them. They were all Western languages and a few Southeast Asian and Middle Eastern languages. There were no small African and Latin American languages that he didn't know, so he nodded and said, "I can understand all of them." Lin Ruoshi originally just asked casually, but she didn't expect Yang Cheng to really understand all of them. She couldn't help but feel that Yang Cheng was bragging. After all, there were at least 24 language books on this floor. In order to teach Yang Cheng a lesson for talking without thinking, and also to have fun, Lin Ruoshi quietly walked all the way to the small section of Albanian. Albanian was the official language of Yugoslavia, Serbia, and other countries and regions. Because it combined many words such as Greek, Italian, and Slavic, it was one of the most unpopular and difficult European languages to learn. Lin Ruoshi casually picked up a heavy book with a black cover and casually opened it to a page. It was densely packed with Albanian words, which gave her a headache. "You said that you can understand all the languages here. Can you translate the words on this page for me?" Lin Ruoshi looked at Yang Cheng. She was in high spirits and didn't look at all like she had been shopping in the bookstore for 3 hours. Yang Cheng simply glanced at it and smacked his lips with some embarrassment. He asked, "Can I not say it? I think it's difficult to say it." "Don't make excuses. Isn't it just translating? Didn't you say that you can do it? What's so difficult about it? I'll hold the book for you. You just need to open your mouth and say it." Lin Ruoshi continued to press him. Her beautiful eyes were full of pride and joy. She felt that she had finally occupied the upper hand and defeated Yang Cheng. Chapter 130. Yang Cheng sighed. "You're the one who forced me to say it. Don't waste time. Hurry up and say it. But I'm warning you, technology is very advanced now. If you spout nonsense, I can analyze it with a translation tool. So if you can't, just give up." Lin Ruoshi revealed a rare, mischievous smile, waiting for Yang Cheng to embarrass himself and admit defeat. Yang Cheng looked at her strangely, cleared his throat, and began to translate. Joseph came. He gently pushed open the door to my room. I could hear my heartbeat. It was so full of the desire to be loved. I didn't know if I should wake up and stop him. Charles was next door. He was Joseph's brother, my husband, but we both betrayed him at this moment. At this point, Lin Ruoshi was stunned, but she didn't say anything. She looked at Yang Cheng suspiciously, unable to determine whether this was true or not. Yang Cheng was also helpless. He continued to translate. Joseph kissed my earlobe. I feel my body burning up. How long has it been? Oh, my dear Joseph, you are like a warm furnace in winter, a lush green in summer. I can't get rid of you. Oh, my dear, kiss me, take me. Forget who Daphne is to you. Forget who you are. We are just a pair of pitiful lovers. Joseph kissed my chest. Stop. Lin Ruoshi finally couldn't listen anymore. Her ears turned red. After closing the book, she gritted her teeth and said, "How can you be like this? Even if you don't know how to translate, don't make things up. Why are you saying such vulgar things?" Yang Cheng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "I didn't make things up. This is what's written in the book. Who would believe you? You must be lying. How could this book have such content? Don't the censors know?" Yang Cheng didn't know why he was here, but Lin Ruoshi couldn't accept such words. It seemed that his wife was very conservative in this aspect. It should be known that this kind of body language was common overseas. At this moment, a tall, gray-haired old man walked over from the other side of the bookshelf. He wore a gray sweater and a pair of presbyopic glasses. He smiled at Lin Ruoshi and said, "Miss, this young man isn't lying. I've read that book before. There are indeed those fragments in it." Lin Ruoshi looked at the old man in confusion. "You are. My surname is Zhao. You can call me Old Zhao. I specialize in studying Indo-European languages, so I know Albanian. That young man's translation should be correct. I remember that this book is mainly about a Serbian woman hesitating about whether to betray her marriage or not. Her name should be Daphne," Old Zhao explained. Lin Ruoshi certainly didn't think that a kind-looking old man would come over and cooperate with Yang Chung to lie to her. Although she knew that she had wronged Yang Chung, she still felt wronged when she saw Yang Cheng's smug look. What was this guy's brain made of? How could he know such an unpopular language? "Thank you, Old Zhao. Are you here to read the book too?" Yang Chung was very grateful to this old man. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to explain himself. Old Zhao smiled and shook his head. "I'm here to read for my wife." As he said that, Old Zhao pointed to the other end of the bookshelf. There was an old woman in a wheelchair. She was also close to 60 years old and looked very weak. "My wife's cataracts couldn't be cured. She's blind and can't read. She used to work in the same research institute as me. I didn't expect her to be blind at her age. Researchers like us are basically useless without eyes. My wife has been staying at home for a few years and started to develop dementia. I was anxious, so I quit my job and brought her here every day to read for her and walk with her. This way, she won't be muddle-headed and can remember more things." Old Zhao's eyes were a little moist as he spoke of the sad part. "Last year, she asked me what my name was. She only remembered that my surname was Zhao and couldn't remember my name. Thinking back to when I was young, my wife was also a famous expert in the research institute. I didn't expect that she would soon forget who I was as she got older. How could I not be anxious?" Lin Ruoshi's heart was pure. When she heard this, she felt sad for the old couple and comforted, "Old Zhao, don't be sad. Madame Zhao will get better." "Ha!" Old man Zhao laughed heartily and said, "It's hard to get better. I've thought it through. Whether she remembers me or not, I remember her. I remember that we've been through decades of ups and downs together. That's enough. In a few years, we'll just be two piles of ashes. But in the end, we'll be together in death. That's enough." Yang Chung and Lin Ruoshi listened and were silent. The old man's words sounded sloppy and plain, but they were full of the most precious things in the world. Old Zhao suddenly looked at the two of them and said, "You two are also husband and wife, right?" "Ah." Lin Ruoshi blushed slightly and couldn't say a word. Yang Chung nodded. "We just got married not long ago." Old Zhao laughed and said, "Young man, you're lucky to have such a beautiful girl as your wife. But you look quite tired too. The books in your hands add up to at least 50 kilograms. I'm tired just looking at you." At this time, Lin Ruoshi subconsciously looked at the two book baskets that Yang Chung had placed on the ground. The books were actually piled up like a small mountain. She didn't notice that she had already chosen so many books. Frowning, Lin Ruoshi bent over and tried to lift one of the baskets. Who knew that she would be so tired even with one hand? She stretched out both hands and barely managed to pull the basket up. Putting down the heavy basket, Lin Ruoshi looked at Yang Chung strangely. When she thought about how this man had silently walked with her for 3 hours, carrying such a large and heavy basket with both hands without making a sound, a strong wave of guilt and emotion welled up in Lin Ruoshi's heart. She looked up at Yang Chung with a complicated expression. Yang Chung saw this scene and smiled indifferently. To him, these things were nothing, but to an ordinary person, a girl, it was too heavy. Picking up the two baskets again, Yang Chung said, "It's okay, I don't feel that it's that heavy." Old man Zhao nodded approvingly. Nowadays, when young girls look for a partner, they only know how to choose those who are handsome and rich. "I think you're honest, young man. The weight of these two baskets is much more valuable than those things. Miss, you have to cherish it. Don't waste this good marriage." After saying that, old man Zhao smiled and waved his hand. He went back to push his wife and slowly left. Seeing that Lin Ruoshi was still staring at him, Yangqing couldn't help but smile and said, I know you don't agree with old man Zhao's words. I also think that I'm quite handsome, right? Lin Ruoshi smiled faintly and said softly, take the elevator down first. Wait for me at the cashier. I'll go get 2 more books. Suddenly hearing his wife talking to him in such a gentle voice, Yangqing almost thought that he was hallucinating. But thinking that 2 books wouldn't take much time, he took the 2 baskets and went downstairs alone. Less than 5 minutes after he arrived downstairs, Lin Ruoshi also came out of the elevator. But she was holding 2 books tightly in her hands, and some of them were hidden from others. Yangqing didn't ask her what books she was hiding from him. After putting the 2 baskets on the cashier, he went to the side and watched Lin Ruoshi pay. Fortunately, there was a trolley on the first floor. Otherwise, Lin Ruoshi would have a hard time carrying nearly 100 books. Many people saw that Lin Ruoshi bought so many books in one go, and they whispered to each other about how corrupt life was. After all, books weren't cheap, and a few thousand yuan was gone. Lin Ruoshi didn't even blink when she swiped her card. Yangqing pushed the trolley and walked with Lin Ruoshi to the parking lot. On the way, he couldn't help but ask, Ruoshi, my wife, you bought so many books. Can you finish them? Lin Ruoshi replied in a serious manner. Actually, many books are used for information. I don't have to finish them all. Also, I like to collect all kinds of books. Yangqing was puzzled. It wasn't like her to talk to him so calmly. He couldn't help but ask curiously, Wife, what's wrong? Are you not feeling well? That doesn't sound like you. When Lin Ruoshi heard this, she suddenly felt unhappy. Was it wrong for her to talk to him nicely? Thus, she said snappily, Are you trying to be cheap? Must I scold you and ridicule you before I'm happy? Oh, that's right. That's the tone. That's normal. Yangqing said with a smile. Lin Ruoshi rolled her eyes and was speechless. When it came to the back of the car, it would naturally take a lot of effort to put in a large pile of books. After all, it was easy to damage the books. When he was about to finish putting the books away, Yangqing casually picked up a book from the bottom of the shopping cart. He was stunned for a moment. Lin Ruoshi was thinking about something when she saw Yangqing holding a book in a daze. She looked at him suspiciously, but this glance made her blush all the way to her ears. Her face was as beautiful as the autumn moon. Crap. How could he have forgotten to hide it? This book was one of the last 2 books that Lin Ruoshi had chosen. The title of the book was The Guide to a Good Wife and Loving Mother. Chapter 131. Having her little secret accidentally exposed, Lin Ruoshi wasn't as shy as other girls who didn't dare to show their faces. Although her face was bright red, she immediately controlled her emotions. She snatched the walkthrough from Yangqing's hands and said, What are you spacing out for? It's not for you to read. Yangqing smiled faintly and did not speak. Instead, he picked up another book that Lin Ruoshi bought from the car. The name of this book was more straightforward, 100 Rules of Getting Along with Husband and Wife. You? Lin Ruoshi was caught off guard. She bit her lip and grabbed it again. Hurry up. I'll get in the car first. As soon as she finished speaking, Lin Ruoshi got into the car like a gust of wind and slammed the door shut. Yangqing touched his nose. He could not help but feel that this scene was a bit funny. He did not expect that Lin Ruoshi would buy such 2 books. It was not her style. On the way back, Lin Ruoshi returned to her indifferent expression. She was even colder than when she came. She did not say a word. In fact, she did not know what to say. She just wanted to get home quickly, close the door in her room, and hide under the covers. She did not want to see anyone. Yangqing saw that she was nervous, as if she was facing a formidable enemy. He finally could not help but smile and said, Do you have to be so serious? It's just 2 books about the relationship between husband and wife. They are not forbidden books. There is no need to hide them. Lin Ruoshi suddenly turned on the direction lights. She stopped the car on the quiet road with dim street lights and turned off the engine. There was a pedestrian street full of small shops. At this moment, the night was silent. There were no pedestrians or cars. It was very quiet. The lights in the car automatically turned on. The soft yellow glow shone on Lin Ruoshi's cold face, making her look a bit hazy. It's funny, right? Lin Ruashi suddenly asked in a clear voice. Yangchen was puzzled as to why he suddenly stopped and asked such a question. Baffled, he asked, "What's so funny?" Lin Ruashi thought he was pretending and sneered. "Do you think I'm stupid? I don't even know how to be a wife and how to get along with a man." Yang Chung was stunned. Just as he was about to say no, he suddenly remembered that the two of them did not get along well these days. However, Yang Chung didn't think that it was purely Lin Ruashi's problem. After being asked this question, he began to think about what was missing between the two of them. Lin Ruashi took his silence as a tacit agreement. Her eyes were a little sad. Just now in the bookstore when I saw old Zhao and his wife, although it was very sad, I felt that they were very happy. Madame Zhao couldn't even remember her lover's name. But Elder Zhao still stayed by her side. He let go of everything and stood by her side, accompanying her through her last days. I really envy them. You're still young. Why are you thinking about these things? Yang Chang said, "People will grow old, and people will always want to have a home." Lin Ruashi continued, "I'm thinking if one day I can't walk anymore and my mind is muddled, will you still be by my side?" "Of course, we're husband and wife." Yang Chung said with a smile, "I still have this quality." Lin Ruashi shook her head. "For now, but what if not in the future?" Yang Chung felt strange. "What do you mean by for now, but not in the future? Isn't it the rule of the Lin family that you can only have one lover? Do you want to change husbands?" Although the relationship between the two of them had always been ordinary, or even not good, if one day Lin Ruashi suddenly said that she wanted to be with another man, Yang Chung felt that he would definitely kill that man. Regardless of morality or ethics, he just couldn't bear it. "I've already said that I'm not a member of the Lin family. That old man has nothing to do with me. I didn't marry you because of that ridiculous rule." Lin Ruashi was a little sullen and said solemnly. Yang Chung smiled. "You didn't really sign the contract to use me as a shield, did you? I feel that my shield is basically useless." Lin Ruashi shook her head slightly. "I admit that I lied to you at that time, but that was actually only a small reason." "What other reason is there?" Yang Chung asked. Lin Ruashi suddenly blushed and pursed her lips. I'm a very conservative person." The atmosphere in the car instantly became ambiguous. Yang Chung held back his laughter and pretended to be serious as he asked again, I didn't hear you clearly. Say it again." Lin Ruashi gritted her teeth. This man was acting shamelessly again. She didn't know where she got the courage from, but Lin Ruashi decided to go all out. "I'll say it. I'm a conservative woman." Lin Ruashi raised her voice and said clearly, "My grandmother taught me to be faithful to one person since I was young. I can't bear to give my first time to a stranger." Yang Chung smiled and looked at the angry woman. "There's nothing to be ashamed of. You should have said it earlier. Don't pretend. You must think that I'm a silly woman." Lin Ruashi said faintly, "In this era, why do you care so much about the so-called first time?" But I just couldn't get over it. I couldn't ignore everything that happened. Even after I found out that you were a mutton skewer seller, I still thought of marrying you." Yang Chung was silent. He looked at the depressed woman and asked, "Do you regret your decision?" Unexpectedly, Lin Ruashi shook her head. "It was like that in the beginning. You were vulgar, shameless, unambitious, and indecent. You were completely different from the partner of my dreams. But since the day you rescued me from the warehouse at the port, I've decided to live with you." The warehouse at the port was naturally referring to the time when they were kidnapped by Lin Kun. Unexpectedly, Lin Ruashi didn't ask anything at that time and made such a decision in her heart. "When I was tied up in the warehouse, I thought that this was probably a chance given to me by God. If you were a coward and didn't think of a way to save us, then I would lose everything. Even Chinny wouldn't have a good ending. So I made a bet with myself that if you came, then I wouldn't think about regretting it anymore. No matter how you treat me in the future, as long as we don't divorce, I would spend the rest of my life with you. If you didn't come, then I would pretend that my life was destined to be such a tragedy. Anyway, there's not much meaning in my life. It's bitter and tiring." "What do you mean by there's no meaning in your life? You have such a big company, so many employees like you. You're prettier than anyone else. Any man would go to heaven with just one look at you. And you're so rich. How do you mean there's no meaning in your life? Yang Chung asked with a sigh. Lin Ruoshi looked at him coldly and said softly, when I was young, there was only Grandma and Mom at home. The men in the family didn't want us. When I went to university, Grandma left me, and later, Mom left me too. Only Mother Wong was left at home to accompany me. I didn't finish university and dropped out to manage Yulei. These few years, I haven't been able to sleep well. Not only that, but my biological father and others came to deal with me and scold me. What's the use of having money? What's the use of being pretty? People who are jealous will only think that I use my body to get where I am today. They will only focus on my appearance and ignore the hard work I put in. You know, even after this year's birthday, I'm only 23 years old. Girls around my age are still studying in university, playing, going to bars, dating, reading romance novels, watching Japanese and Korean dramas, dreaming of becoming the female lead. What about me? I can't play when I want to play, and I can't wear what I want to wear. Every day, he would face the empty office and look at the reports and documents that were filled with data and words. I have meetings with a group of company executives who each have their own ulterior motives and pay the salaries of thousands of employees. When the stock market is good, I have to urge my employees not to slack off. When sales have problems, I have to pretend to be calm and encourage my employees not to lose heart. The lights in the car had automatically dimmed. In the darkness, it was impossible to see the expression on Lin Ruoshi's face. Only 2 lines of crystal clear tears were particularly clear. Yang Chung slowly reached out, wanting to help her wipe away her tears, but Lin Ruoshi immediately turned her head and wiped away her tears, causing Yang Cheng's hand to freeze in midair. You don't have to pity me. I know what I'm doing. My grandmother told me that a woman can't rely on a man. That man abandoned my grandmother, so my grandmother founded Yulei International and even made Yulei International to the scale it is today. I don't expect you to treat me well. I know that I may be a qualified company manager, but I'm definitely not a good wife. You don't like me, but I won't hate you. Who said I don't like you? If I didn't like you, would I marry you? Yang Chung said with a frown. Lin Ruoshi was silent for a while and said, You don't understand me. Even if you like me, you only like my appearance. But that doesn't matter. Although I don't know how to be a good wife, I can read books and learn. I believe that one day I will become a good wife. Yang Chung smiled bitterly. This is not a math problem. It can't be solved by reading books, right? Then what should I do? Lin Ruoshi frowned. She was at a loss. This problem was more complicated than those financial problems for a young female CEO. Yang Chung said earnestly, Let's not talk about this problem first. Ruoshi, you said that you're willing to go all the way with me because I saved you that day. In fact, this isn't a good reason. The only reason why I hope that my wife is willing to be with me is because she loves me. She loves me so much that she can't leave me. Your reason isn't love, but gratitude to me. I don't need your gratitude. I saved you because you're my woman. Do you understand? I'm not a little girl. I'm making a rational judgment. Lin Ruoshi argued. Because you're rational, that's why it's wrong. There's no rational love, only rational responsibility. Yang Chung said. Lin Ruoshi didn't say anything. She seemed to be thinking about the meaning of his words. But her poor love cells couldn't understand these things at all. Yang Chung continued. Just like today, when you saw Mr. and Mrs. Zhao, an old couple who have been together for a lifetime, you envied and yearned for that kind of love, so it stimulated your desire for a married life. This is a good thing, and it's also human nature. In fact, I also hope to be with you for the rest of my life. As you said, maybe I like your appearance. Of course, it could also be that I want to be responsible for you and be a good husband. I'm not sure myself, but I'm very sure that even if the marriage contract expires, as long as you don't leave me, I won't take the initiative to leave you. I won't leave you for the rest of my life. This is the promise I can give to your man. Just now, you said that you want to work hard to be a good wife, and I'm very happy. But the way you choose to learn how to be a wife is by reading books. That's ridiculous. Do you think that Mrs. Zhao or Mr. Zhao will read the theories in the books and live their lives according to them. Lin Ruoshi shook her head. She also felt that this didn't seem very realistic. She asked, "Then what should I do?" "Follow your feelings. There's no theory to love." "Feelings? What do you mean, feelings?" Lin Ruoshi began to have a headache again. Yang Chung chuckled. "Being in love is a very strange situation between us. Generally, when a man and a woman get together, they fall in love first. There's passion, then there's marriage, then there's responsibility. But for us, there's marriage and responsibility first. You have to be responsible for your life, and I have to be responsible for my actions. We may have the responsibility of a husband and wife to each other, but we lack the love between a man and a woman." Love? Love? When Lin Ruoshi heard this word, her ears burned red. I don't know how to be in love. Actually, I don't know either." Yang Chung touched the back of his head. He really didn't understand. In the past, he would just grab women and *CK them. Now, the women around him didn't say that they had a boyfriend and a girlfriend. They were just lovers. Lin Ruoshi was discouraged. "Then why did you say so much? It's all nonsense." "Actually, it's not that there's no way," Yang Chung whispered. He glanced at the woman in front of him and enjoyed inhaling the unique fragrance of Lin Ruoshi. "What way?" Lin Ruoshi asked curiously. Yang Chung swallowed his saliva, deliberated his words, and said, "I think we should look for the love between a man and a woman from a primitive point of view." "What is the primitive point of view?" "It's the contact between the bodies. There's a so-called you in me, and I in you. Yin and yang are balanced, and the spirit and flesh are intertwined. For example, now, in this car, there are some things that can be done. That, Ruoshi, you understand what I mean?" Gradually, in the darkness, Lin Ruoshi's breathing became more and more restrained. A cold light flashed in her pair of watery eyes. "Ro!" Lin Ruoshi seemed to be very angry. She shouted and directly started the car. She even changed the gear and stepped on the accelerator. Boom! The Mercedes-Benz shot out like a small steel cannon. The strong recoil made Yang Chung stick to the seat. Hey, don't get excited. Why are you driving so fast?" "It's none of your business." "Big sister, I said it wrong. Can you slow down? We're going to crash." "I'll kill you, you pervert." "Even if you kill me, put down the car's handbrake first." "It's none of your business." *CK your sister. You're the real road killer." The bright red taillights drew an electric arc in the night and disappeared at the end of the dark road. Chapter 132. After a period of busyness, Yang Cheng's life finally returned to normal. Chiang Wei was busy reorganizing the underground forces in the Western District. Like a proud queen of the underground world, she looked down on all the small fries and crab generals and wiped them out, establishing the new order she hoped for. As for Dongxing in the Eastern District, it was much more low-key. Other than expressing goodwill towards Chiang Wei, it didn't do anything else, as if it had tacitly agreed to the birth of the new overlord of the Western District. Situ Mingza was sent by Chiang Wei to an unremarkable Nordic country in Europe. There would be a deaf and mute old woman to take care of him for the rest of his life. There wasn't much money, but it was enough for him to live. The house wasn't big, but it was enough for him to put a sofa and watch TV. When he left Huaxia, he heard from Xiao Zhao that Situ Mingza was crying and begging Chiang Wei not to send him out. He knew that if he went out, he would have nothing left. Chiang Wei didn't soften. She was very clear on how important her choice was. The matter could be considered to have drawn a full stop. Li Jingjing invited Yang Chung to a mysterious place, but he had to wait for a while. She also told Yang Chung that after Li Jingjing's mother got rid of the father and son of the Jiang family, she started to look for a new boyfriend for her. This gave her a headache, and she even wanted to move out. As for Jiang Shuo and his father, Jiang Ming, after seeing the video sent anonymously, they were frightened. Every time they saw Li Jingjing in school, the father and son would smile like a dog's tail, trying to please her in every way possible. It was just that Li Jingjing pretended not to know anything. Tang Tang, that girl, was still in her 3rd year of high school. Although she would occasionally give Yang Chung a few harassing calls, She was tightly controlled by her mother and couldn't run out to play anymore. This made Yang Chung feel a little funny. That grown-up girl had finally learned to be obedient. After Lin Ruoshi's return, the entire Yulei International became busy again. The fall fashion show, as well as the next season's trendy products, all needed to be prepared as soon as possible. As one of the top fashion companies in Huaxia, Yulei International couldn't lose face. But amidst the bustle, some inconspicuous things happened. Other than Yang Chung, the only male employee in the PR department, Comrade Chen Bo, resigned during this period. Comrade Xiao Chen's reason for resigning was that he felt that public relations work was not suitable for him, and he had already decided to work for a publishing company. Being a text editor was more suitable for his personality. Yang Chung knew that it was mainly because of Chen Bo's younger sister. Chen Rong had already received a lot of benefits from Xiang Wei. She had even become the successor that Xiang Wei had focused on training. Therefore, Chen Bo's family problems had been solved very well. He didn't need to do a job that he didn't like just for a few thousand extra dollars. When he left, Chen Bo thanked Yang Chung with tears and snot all over his face. In the end, he was just short of giving him a kiss. Chen Bo's departure did not bring much sadness to the office. Perhaps his presence was not that strong in the first place. Ever since Lu Mingyu became the head of the PR department, she worked exceptionally hard. She no longer had the time to chat with her friends like she used to. As a higher-up, she had to have the dignity of a higher-up. At the very least, she had to put on airs during working hours. As for Mo Qianni, who was already working in the Ministry of Finance, Yang Chung rarely had the chance to meet her. There were a few times when they bumped into each other in the elevator, but it was just a simple greeting. Towards Mo Qianni's coldness, Yang Chung was slightly disappointed, but he didn't mind it too much. When a beautiful woman was feeling helpless, a bored man lent her a helping hand. He gave her a chest to lean on, and, at the same time, took advantage of the situation. Both of them did not owe each other anything. At least that was how Yang Chung understood it. What made Yang Chung not know whether to laugh or cry was naturally his wife at home, the cold and elegant female CEO who did not give a damn about him in the company. That night, Lin Ruoshi had said that she wanted to be a good wife so that Yang Chung would not be able to leave her. However, she did not expect that after being provoked by Yang Cheng's "I'm in you," she would immediately turn against him and not acknowledge anything at all. She, who was so pure that she did not seem like an adult woman, seemed to be really angry. In her opinion, Yang Cheng's thoughts were absolutely filthy. As a result, Lin Ruoshi started to become unapproachable again. If Yang Chung did not say anything, Lin Ruoshi would not even bother to talk to him, let alone do anything to further their relationship. She was expressionless all day long, forgetting herself in her work. The two textbooks that Lin Ruoshi had bought were ruthlessly thrown under the bookshelf. Yang Chung asked her, "Do you still want to become a loving couple?" Lin Ruoshi answered very directly, "Yes." "Then why are you in a cold war with me?" Lin Ruoshi answered very seriously, "I'm looking for a feeling." Yang Chung felt that if he wanted to satisfy his physical needs with his wife, he probably would not have much hope in this lifetime. His work during the day was still very leisurely. Other than flirting with some pretty girls and telling some dirty jokes, he would play games. However, ever since Yang Chung learned Warcraft and got to know Yuan Yi, the games he played were no longer as simple as watching a game. Yuan Yi was unexpectedly enthusiastic. He would contact Yang Chung almost every day and invite him to practice on the BattleNet. Due to his innate advantage, it was very easy for Yang Chung to win against Yuan Yi. However, in order to make the game more fun, Yang Chung often used some unpopular tactics with loopholes. This made the game more interesting and also gave Yuan Yi a chance to win. Yuan Yi greatly admired Yang Chen's skills and awareness, and then thought of what Yang Chen had taught him in the past, as well as Yang Chen's extraordinary skills. He had the intention to make friends with him seriously. He didn't lack the scoundrels of rich kids, but true friends were too few. Yang Chung also gradually felt that Yuan Yi was not like other rich young masters who were unreasonable and did stupid things. It was rare that he found him pleasing to the eye. Moreover, Yuan Yi had such a friendly attitude, so he accepted Yuan Yi as a friend. The relationship between the two gradually became a lot closer. When it was almost time to get off work on Friday, Yang Chung and Yuan Yi finished their last game. Yang Chung was just about to say goodbye on MSN when Yuan Yi sent a message, "Brother Yang, it's my birthday on the 9th of next month. I want to invite you to my house for a party." Yang Chung hesitated. Looking at the current situation, Yuan Yi's family background was definitely that of a super wealthy one. Although he wouldn't feel pressured by such a family background, he might meet some people who don't have eyes. When that time comes, it wouldn't be good if things got unpleasant. Yuan Yi seemed to understand Yang Cheng's worries and sent another message. "Brother Yang, don't worry. I'll only invite a few close friends and a few family members. There won't be any people you hate." Since the other party said so, Yang Cheng couldn't refuse, so he agreed and happily said goodbye to Yuan Yi. Just as Yang Cheng turned off the computer and was about to leave the office, Zhao Hongyan, who was sitting closest to him, suddenly stopped him and asked, "Yang Cheng, do you have anything to do after work?" "Nothing, what's wrong?" Zhao Hongyan said with a smile. "After Sister Mingyu's promotion, we've been busy and didn't have time to celebrate with her. Tonight, Zhang Kai and I will go to the Blueberry Bar to celebrate with Sister Mingyu. I want to invite you along. After all, we're a group of women. It's boring without a man, and in a place like a bar, it's safer with a man." Only then did Yang Cheng remember that he really didn't celebrate with Lu Mingyu. Seeing the pleading eyes of the surrounding beauties, he didn't want to refuse, so he readily agreed. After calling Mother Wang at home, Yang Cheng saw Lu Mingyu walk out of the office in casual clothes after work. She had put on light makeup, and her long hair that was tied up was let down. She was wearing a blue tight-fitting low-collared shirt with a white women's blouse on the outside. She was graceful and her mature and beautiful demeanor was dazzling. Seeing Yang Cheng staring at her, Lu Mingyu asked with a little satisfaction, "Do I look good?" Department head Lu is indeed the #1 beauty in the public relations department, Yang Cheng said with a straight face. "Don't call me department head when you're off work. It's so unpleasant." Lu Mingyu rolled her eyes at him and walked out with a group of giggling girls. The Blueberry Bar was one of the more famous bars in Zhonghai. Because of its elegant style and low cost, it was very popular among the white-collar workers in the city. It was Yang Chen's first time here, and he followed behind 6 or 7 female colleagues. As soon as he entered, he was envied by many of his fellow male colleagues, because these female colleagues were all outstanding beauties, each dressed up in their own way. Some were full of youthful vigor, some were mature and charming. How could these wild wolves in the bar not have their eyes light up? After the few of them sat down on the sofa at the corner of the bar, they ordered more than 10 bottles of liquor of various sizes. They weren't afraid of getting drunk. The few women took off their jackets and started drinking the liquor that they liked. They didn't have the demeanor of a lady at all. There was a saying that 3 women could make a play, and these 7 women naturally had endless things to talk about when they were together. They drank and ate fruits, and very soon, everyone's face was dyed red, and they were beautiful beyond compare. Yang Cheng held a bottle of vodka and sipped it slowly. Ever since he lost control of his brain the last time, he didn't dare to drink anymore. After all, alcohol affected the nerves in the brain, and Yang Cheng didn't dare to joke around. Just when the group of women was chatting and laughing, a handsome young man in a narrow suit with earrings on his ears walked to the table and said to Zhao Hongyan, who was sitting next to Yang Cheng, "Sister-in-law, what a coincidence." Zhao Hongyan, who was giggling, suddenly stopped. She looked at the man and smiled unnaturally. "Little Hui, yes, what a coincidence. You're also drinking here?" "I'm here with my girlfriend. She drank too much and needs to go to the washroom, and it might take some time. Otherwise, I wouldn't dare to come over and greet you, sister-in-law. My girlfriend will be jealous." The man smiled evilly. At this moment, Zhang Kai, whose eyes were misty, pouted and asked, "Hongyan, who is this?" Zhao Hongyan introduced awkwardly. "This is my husband's younger brother, my brother-in-law. His name is Yu Hui." After Yu Hui greeted the women with a gentle smile, he asked Zhao Hongyan, "Sister-in-law, did you tell brother that you're coming here to drink tonight?" Zhao Hongyan's pretty face turned pale. She pursed her lips and forced a smile. "I seem to have forgotten to call." Thanks for reminding me. I'll go out and make a call now. After saying that, Zhao Hongyan squeezed out of the crowd and trotted out of the blueberry bar. Yu Hui's lips curled into a slight sneer, but it disappeared in a flash. After saying goodbye to the others, he followed Zhao Hongyan out of the bar. Lu Mingyu and the others were drunk. They looked at each other and didn't pay much attention to it. They just treated it as a small interlude. Yang Qing pondered for a moment, put down the bottle, and said to the others, I'm going out for some fresh air. It's quite stuffy here. You guys continue drinking. Chapter 133. Intuition told Yang Cheng that Zhao Hongyan should be in trouble. Although the other women were too drunk to notice, Yang Cheng still saw the unnatural expression on Zhao Hongyan's face. It was already autumn, and the streets at night were cold and windy. Not many pedestrians were willing to go shopping at this time. Occasionally, some people would pass by, but they were in a hurry. After Yang Cheng walked out of the bar, he looked to both sides, but he didn't see Zhao Hongyan or Yu Hui. He couldn't help but feel a headache, so he started to search around himself. At the same time, behind the bar, a few dim street lights shone on the small parking lot. Zhao Hongyan, who was wearing a gray knitted coat and a black pleated skirt, walked to the corner of the parking lot. With a pair of slender legs and black lace stockings, she exuded the charm of a mature and beautiful young woman. But at this moment, her face was filled with anxiety and gloomy expression. After hesitating for a moment, Zhao Hongyan took out her small cell phone and prepared to make a call. However, just as she scrolled through the phone number, she was stuck there and didn't dare to connect. What's wrong, my dear sister-in-law? Don't you dare to call my brother? Yu Hui's voice sounded from behind Zhao Hongyan, sounding very playful. Zhao Hongyan's delicate body trembled slightly as she slowly turned around to look at Yu Hui. She said with some lack of confidence, Little Hui, why did you come out too? I was just about to call. It's late at night. I was afraid that something would happen to you, sister-in-law, so I came to watch. Yu Hui smiled evilly. I'm your sister-in-law, not your sister. What can happen to me? Zhao Hongyan smiled embarrassedly and lowered her head. She reached out to stroke her bangs, but her eyes wandered, not daring to look at Yu Hui. Yu Hui took a few steps closer and walked to a meter in front of Zhao Hongyan. I only have this sister-in-law, and my brother only has this wife. How can I be at ease? Sister-in-law, you don't have to worry about me. It's better to call my brother so that he can rest assured. You go in first, I'll call now. Zhao Hongyan's breathing was a little chaotic. Why must I go in? Is sister-in-law going to call my brother without me knowing? Or are you feeling guilty and not planning to fight at all? Yu Hui. Zhao Hongyan's face turned red as she raised her head and stared at the young man with a strange smile. What do you mean? How can you talk to your sister-in-law like this? How can you talk to your sister-in-law like this? I think highly of you and call you my sister-in-law. Zhao Hongyan, do you really think that just because you married my older brother, you really became the mistress of the Yu family? Don't you think about your identity? Why are you pretending in front of me? I've never thought of it that way. Don't slander me. Zhao Hongyan screamed, her eyes filled with tears of grievance. Yu Hui became more and more excited. I don't care if you think that way. I only know that if I tell my brother that you came to a bar to drink without him knowing, and that there was even a man with you, what would he think? Would his colleagues? What's wrong with drinking together? Hongyan said to say. Hongyan said, you yang. Yan's yang you. Hongyan's was the same to say. Zhao Hongyan's face was pale. She opened her mouth, but she couldn't speak. That was what she told her husband, Yu Guang. She never expected that Yu Hui would appear in this bar. Zhao Hongyan's heart trembled at the thought of her husband finding out that she came to the bar. She felt her legs become unsteady. Yu Hui took 2 steps closer, almost touching Zhao Hongyan's body. He enjoyed taking a deep breath of Zhao Hongyan's enchanting body fragrance mixed with the smell of alcohol and said with an evil light in his eyes, Do you know how to keep me from telling my brother about this? Zhao Hongyan blushed and guessed what this man wanted. She hurriedly took 2 steps back, but there was a cold wall behind her. There was nowhere to retreat. Yu Hui snorted coldly and pounced forward with both hands, pressing Zhao Hongyan against the wall, making it difficult for her to move. The distance between the two of them could already feel the heat of each other's breath. Under the dim light, Zhao Hongyin's fair and delicate face was flushed. Because of nervousness and humiliation, her tearful eyes looked especially pitiful. Her full chest constantly rose and fell, showing an alluring arc waves of intoxicating woman's fragrance constantly emitted from her body. Yu Hui greedily looked up and down at his familiar brother and sister-in-law. "Tell me, do you want me to tell my big brother? Or do you want me to?" Zhao Hongyan shook her head in pain. "Little Hui, you can't do this. I'm your sister-in-law." Yu Hui's face was ferocious as he suddenly roared. "Ever since the day you got married, I've never treated you as my sister-in-law. Ever since I was young, I've given Big Brother good clothes, good toys, and good opportunities to Big Brother. Just because he's better at reading than me and has better grades, I'll give him everything. Now that I've graduated from university, the family business is all under his management. Those old fellows only know how to scold me all day long, saying that I only know how to fool around. Why didn't you King care about me earlier and only cared about Big Brother? Fine, I don't care about those things, but why do I have to give in to Big Brother, even when it comes to women? I was the one who took a fancy to you first, but why did I not even let you go in the end and insist on marrying Big Brother? What's so good about that man? He's old-fashioned, stubborn, and uninteresting. He doesn't even know how to treat you well. Why do you have to marry him? Just because he's the future heir of the Yu family, and I'm the second son who does nothing all day and is looked down upon by my family?" Yu Hui roared. That manic voice made Zhao Hongyan's tears flow continuously. She was so scared that she turned her head away, not daring to look at him. "I'm telling you, Zhao Hongyan, don't pretend to be pure in front of me. You're just a bitch. What you're after is clearly my big brother's position and our family's money. You want to wait until those old fellows die so that the money will belong to you, right? You're just like those idiots at home who only know how to protect their big brother. I look down on you from the bottom of my heart. If you don't follow me today, I'll tell him that you went out to the nightclub behind my big brother's back. That inflexible idiot will believe me, his little brother. He thinks I respect him so much. Huh, don't you think he's stupid? The person he trusts the most is the person who hates him the most." Zhao Hongyan was already sobbing. "Little Hui, don't say that. It's not like that. Shut up." Yu Hui's eyes revealed an ominous glint. His expression was somewhat distorted as he laughed strangely. "You don't need to explain to me. I've been listening to hypocritical people like you since I was young. I'm tired of hearing it. Let me ask you, Zhao Hongyan, sister-in-law Zhao, do you want to be slapped a few times by my big brother and have no face to see anyone? Just obediently take off your clothes, and we'll just be together for half an hour. When we get home, I'll pretend that nothing happened." When Yu Hui's face got closer and closer, Zhao Hongyan finally realized that he was going to make a move. While she was afraid, the rebellious emotions in her bones also surged out. Zhao Hongyan pulled away Yu Hui's hand that was blocking her, and tried to run away quickly. How could Yu Hui let her do as she pleased? With a sinister smile, he grabbed Zhao Hongyan's arm and pulled her back, pushing her to the corner of the wall. Zhao Hongyan staggered and almost fell to the cold ground. She was like a mother beast that was forced to a critical moment. In addition to her unyielding gaze, Zhao Hongyan was also a bit angry at the moment. She screamed and tried to push Yu Hui away. Unfortunately, no matter how angry a woman's strength was, it was often incomparable to an adult man's. Before Zhao Hongyan's hands could touch Yu Hui's body, she was grabbed by his hands and pressed against the wall, unable to move. "Let me tell you, if you continue to be so disobedient, not only will I play with you, but I'll also tell my brother everything that happened today." Yu Hui pressed Zhao Hongyan's hands and said with a sneer. Zhao Hongyan struggled in pain and wanted to lift her leg to kick this rough man, but she was blocked by Yu Hui's legs as if she was fixed on a cross. "Don't try to threaten me. If you want to tell Yu Guang, then tell him. I have a clear conscience. In short, I won't let you succeed." Zhao Hongyan's voice was already a bit hoarse, and she was panting. But as a woman's last shred of dignity, she wouldn't give up. "Is that so?" Yu Guang raised his eyebrows and said casually, "Then your old man Yu Hui. Zhao Hongyan's strong mental defense finally loosened. She gritted her teeth and said with tears in her eyes, "Why are you doing this? What do I owe you that you have to do this to me? You owe me everything. Your whole body should be mine. You and the group of people in your family all owe me. From the day you entered the house, I swore that I would get you. Don't even think about escaping today." Yu Hui's mind seemed to be a bit deranged as he laughed wildly. Zhao Hongyan's struggling hand stopped, and Yu Hui also let go of his hands confidently. As she sobbed, Zhao Hongyan's entire body softly slid down the wall. She covered her face with her hands, and her body trembled. "Sister-in-law Hongyan, since there's no one around, shouldn't you hurry up and do something?" Yu Hui teased, as if he was looking at a prey that had fallen into a net. Zhao Hongyan wiped away her tears, raised her head, and coldly looked at him. "Yu Hui, you will regret it." Yu Hui's face darkened, and he said in a deep voice, "Whether or not I regret it is my business. I'm telling you to take off your clothes now. Take off your skirt. Wait until I'm done with you. Then we'll talk about whether or not you regret it." The night wind blew into the parking lot, and it was especially cold. Zhao Hongyan took a deep breath and closed her eyes as if she had accepted her fate. Her two hands began to unbutton the knitted wool jacket on her chest, gradually revealing the two bulging hills inside. Yu Hui licked his dry lips in intoxication, and the flames in his eyes gradually ignited. The moment he had been dreaming of was so close. But at this moment, the sound of a man coughing came from behind Yu Hui. "Cough, cough, that. Hongyan, the weather is so cold. I think you should put on your clothes." Chapter 134. Ooh, Yangcheng. Yu Hui and Zhao Hongyan turned their heads at the same time and saw the sudden appearance of Yangcheng. But the mood of the two people was completely reversed. "It's you?" Yu Hui still remembered that this man was sitting with Zhao Hongyan and the other women at the table. When he suddenly saw Yangcheng appear, he was a little flustered, but he immediately calmed down. Zhao Hongyan quickly buttoned up her clothes, and while Yu Hui wasn't paying attention, she quickly ran behind Yangcheng. "You've been eavesdropping on our conversation?" Yu Hui's face was very ugly, and he stared coldly at Yangcheng. "Your voice is so loud, it's hard not to hear it, although I don't really like listening to you," Yangcheng said with a smile. Yu Hui fiercely glared at Yangcheng. He knew that this matter was over. After all, he couldn't do anything with Zhao Hongyan in front of another man, but the resentment in his heart accumulated even more. He looked at Zhao Hongyan with some deep meaning, snorted coldly, and left the parking lot. Zhao Hongyan finally breathed a sigh of relief, looked up and forced a smile. "Thank you. Do you need me to send you back?" Yangcheng felt that such a thing had already happened. Leaving Zhao Hongyan to continue drinking was simply torture for this woman. Zhao Hongyan shook her head. "No need. I can drive back myself. I want to be alone." Yangcheng nodded. Although he roughly understood the situation of Zhao Hongyan's family, he was just a colleague, at most a good friend. There was no reason and no qualification to intervene in other people's private affairs. "Don't do anything stupid. There is room for remedy no matter what happens," Yangcheng finally said with concern. Zhao Hongyan's eyes were slightly red. Feeling Yangcheng's sincere thoughts, she was moved and said, "Don't worry, I'm not a child anymore. In fact, I've thought through a lot of things, and what will come will come. That's it, bye-bye. Bye-bye." Seeing Zhao Hongyan's lonely figure walking to her small Toyota, Yangcheng was quite emotional. Every family has its own problems. Compared to Zhao Hongyan, the husband and wife combination like Lin Ruoxi might not be too bad. It reminded him of an old saying, "Life is rape. If you can't resist it, then enjoy it." After seeing Zhao Hongyan off, Yangcheng went back to the Blueberry Bar. Lu Mingyu and the other women were almost drunk, and they were smiling charmingly. Seeing that Yangcheng had returned but Zhao Hongyan was nowhere to be seen, Lu Mingyu, who was still somewhat clear-minded, asked, "Where's Hongyan?" "Oh, she had some urgent matters to attend to, so she went back first. She asked me to inform you." Lu Mingyu asked thoughtfully, "Nothing important, right?" "I'm fine." Yangcheng smiled as he picked up the unfinished wine and raised it to his female colleagues. Let's finish the wine first and wish our department head Lou all the best in her career. Cheers. The women also raised their wine glasses and giggled. After all, they were a group of women. They drank until around 10 p.m. and went home. At first, Yang Cheng was worried that it would be dangerous for these women to drive, but he didn't expect that once they left the bar, everyone seemed to have changed their faces. They said goodbye to Yang Cheng in a sober manner and even made a few jokes. Zhang Kai seemed to have noticed Yang Cheng's surprise and smiled proudly. What's so strange about that? Don't forget our jobs. Which public relations staff doesn't know how to drink? If we can't even drive home after drinking with our clients, then we don't need to work in this industry anymore. Yang Cheng was surprised. Since he didn't do any serious work in the company, he had forgotten what his colleagues' jobs were. When Yang Cheng drove back to the Dragon Garden Villa, he found that the lights on the first floor were brighter than usual. What surprised Yang Cheng was that there was a car parked by the roadside, which obviously didn't belong to Lin Ruashi. It was a black Japanese Acura MDX. Although this car was a Japanese luxury car, it was created in the United States. If it appeared in Huaxia, it must be an imported product with a high price. Could it be that one of Lin Ruashi's relatives came to the house? Should I go in or not? After thinking about it, Yang Cheng felt that his question was nonsense. It wasn't like his appearance affected the city's appearance. What was there to be ashamed of? He walked in slowly. There was indeed a guest sitting on the sofa in the living room. However, it wasn't the elder that Yang Cheng had imagined, but a young man wearing a blue Versace shirt. He had neat short hair, a well-defined face, a high-nosed bridge, a height of 1.8 meters, and a healthy complexion. He sat on the sofa with his back straight. His calm and composed look made it hard to guess the man's age. At this moment, Lin Ruashi and the man were sitting on two sofas at a 90-degree angle. There was steaming hot tea on the coffee table. They seemed to be chatting about something. Seeing that the door was opened and Yang Cheng walked in, the man in the blue shirt frowned slightly. He immediately stood up with a bright smile and nodded at Yang Cheng in a friendly manner. He smiled at him for no reason, so he couldn't be too rude. Yang Cheng smiled back at him and asked Lin Ruashi, who was sitting quietly at the side, "This is?" Without waiting for Lin Ruashi's introduction, the man said with a bright voice, "I'm Zheng Xinlin, Ruashi's schoolmate in university. May I know who this gentleman is?" "Okay, you came to my house and asked me who the male host is." Yang Cheng sensed that this man wasn't as friendly as he appeared to be. He might even be more arrogant than anyone else. Yang Cheng took out the key to his villa indifferently. "The man who has the key to this house, who do you think he is?" Zheng Xinlin revealed a look of realization. Could he be Ruashi's elder brother or younger brother? "I've never seen him before, so please don't take it to heart." Seeing Zheng Xinlin's sincere and fake expression, Yang Cheng finally realized that this guy's face wasn't thinner than his. He frowned slightly. At this moment, Lin Ruashi glanced at Yang Cheng indifferently and turned to Zheng Xinlin. "Senior, he's Yang Cheng, my husband." Zheng Xinlin's expression changed slightly, but he concealed it without batting an eyelid. He said with a smile, "So he's Ruashi's husband." "Ruashi, why didn't you tell me that you're married? You made such a decision without waiting for me to come back. You didn't even give me a cup of wedding wine to drink." Lin Ruashi looked a little apologetic. "I'm sorry, I just got married recently, so I didn't have time to tell you. However, we've only gotten our marriage certificate, and the wedding hasn't been held yet. I'll ask you to come when the time comes." "The wedding hasn't been held yet?" Zheng Xinlin's eyes revealed some spirit again. He glanced at Yang Cheng and Lin Ruashi meaningfully and said, "That's good. Don't forget to call me when the time comes. I'll definitely prepare a big gift. After all, our relationship isn't just ordinary." Standing at the side, Yang Cheng heard this conversation and felt uncomfortable. "It's fine if you don't put me in your eyes, but why do you have to wait for me to come back before getting married? What do you mean your relationship isn't just ordinary? Don't tell me it's different?" Now that he understood that this guy was another rival in love, Yang Cheng didn't stand on ceremony. He walked over to Lin Ruashi's side and sat on the sofa that Lin Ruashi was sitting on. The sofa bounced a few times before it finally settled down. Lin Ruashi frowned. She still wasn't used to being too close to Yang Cheng, so she slightly moved away from Yang Cheng. Zhang Xinlin saw this unintentional movement, and his eyes lit up again. He seemed to have understood something, and his expression also relaxed. "May I know where Mr. Yang is working?" Zhang Xinlin asked politely, as if nothing had happened. Yang Cheng poured a cup of boiled water for himself, drank a mouthful, and said, "Not really. I'm just working for my wife in the company. I'm just an idler." Zhang Xinlin's expression became more and more confident. He smiled and said, "That's also good. I also hope that I can be at a place where I can see Ruoshi every day." Thinking back to the 3 years in university, it's really unforgettable to be able to see Ruoshi so often. Lin Ruoshi felt a little uncomfortable. She picked up the teacup and sipped the tea quietly, not saying anything. No matter how good Yang Cheng's temper was, he still felt a little jealous when he heard this. It seemed that this guy was much more threatening than Su Jihong. He was actually so close to Lin Ruoshi in university. However, since Zhang Xinlin didn't take the initiative to talk about him, Yang Cheng couldn't be petty and say anything bad about him. He could only drink the tea quietly and listen to him and Lin Ruoshi chat. Zhang Xinlin returned to his original indifferent look and didn't look at Yang Cheng anymore. He seemed to have a lot of emotions. "Back then, I was still a postgraduate student, and Ruoshi was still an undergraduate. My tutor wanted me to be their teaching assistant. As soon as I entered the classroom, I saw Ruoshi reading there. I was even curious as to why this female student was reading a postgraduate textbook. Later, I chatted with Ruoshi, and it was like finding a bosom friend. Only then did I have the beautiful memories of those 2 years in university. Now that I think about it, it might be fate. Senior, it's all in the past. There's no need to mention it anymore. Didn't you say that you want to open a company when you return to Zhonghai?" Even if Lin Ruoshi didn't know much about relationships, she could still feel that the atmosphere wasn't right. Thus, she changed the topic without batting an eyelid. Zhang Xinlin replied calmly with a smile. "That's right. Although my old man wants to hand over the business in my hometown in Beijing to me, I plan to open an entertainment media-related company in Zhonghai. Speaking of which, it happens to be the same as Ruoshi's Yulei International. At that time, you have to take care of me, your senior. Senior, you're more talented than me. I'm sure you'll be able to do well," Lin Ruoshi said slowly but sincerely. "That's not necessarily true. 3 years ago, you dropped out of school and entered Yulei to become the CEO. No matter what, you have already walked on the right track of doing business. As for me, I was chased by the few old men in my family to go to the Southwest to be a soldier. These 3 years, I basically didn't do any proper work and only managed those gun barrels and cannonballs. I have also forgotten all the things I learned in the past." Zhang Xinlin sighed. Lin Ruoshi fell into some memories. "At that time, I heard from some of my classmates that you went to be a soldier. I didn't believe it, but I didn't expect you to really go." Zhang Xinlin's eyes revealed some nostalgia. He squinted his eyes, and his originally masculine face looked especially masculine under the light. "Ruoshi, you don't know this. Although our country seems to be peaceful and prosperous now, the border defense has always been unstable. For example, during these 3 years when I was in the Southwest, there were at least 500 to 600 days where there were conflicts and confrontations with those few countries in the Southwest. Not many people died, but getting shot was a common occurrence. To Lin Ruoshi, who had lived in a big city since she was young, the rumbling battlefield and the pervading gunpowder smoke were naturally unfamiliar things. Moreover, iron-blooded soldiers were worshipped by most women. Even someone as cold as her couldn't help but ask curiously, "Senior, is the Southwest that chaotic? You even went to war?" Yang Cheng, who was sitting beside Lin Ruoshi, was surprised to find out that Lin Ruoshi was actually interested in this kind of thing. He couldn't help but smile bitterly. What's the point of that kind of thing? Once he thought about war, Yang Cheng felt irritated. He wanted to take out a cigarette, but realized that the cigarettes in his pocket had already been smoked. He couldn't help but sit on the sofa gloomily and continue to listen to Zhang Xinlin's deep speech. Chapter 135. Zhang Xinlin couldn't be bothered with Yang Cheng's impatient expression and sighed. His youthful face had a maturity that didn't match his age. "Yes, war. I entered the army for less than half a year. Since I had some martial arts foundation and excellent training, I was directly transferred to the Field Regiment of the 32nd Southwest Division. To put it simply, I was a Special Forces soldier who specialized in Highland warfare. I squatted at the southwest border every day. If it wasn't for drug smuggling, human trafficking, fighting with drug dealers, or fighting with the armies of those countries in the Southwest because of some territorial disputes. Now that I think about it, I'm really lucky to be able to sit here alive without losing an arm or a leg. Ruashi, do you know that there was a time when we fought with the Indian Army in a canyon? Their reinforcements came faster than we expected, and they even brought along a team of artillery soldiers. At that time, our company only had 17 to 18 people, and they had at least 100 enemies. However, we could only rely on the machine guns on our back to fight them. The Indian Army was famous for being timid, but the bullets they fired didn't have eyes. Due to the long supply route, we couldn't transport our weapons as fast as them. When they fired their artillery, we could only retreat. However, the order from the division headquarters was to never retreat from that canyon. At that time, our company commander panicked and ran into the forest with a bag of high explosives. When they weren't paying attention, he secretly threw the explosives out from behind them. Blow up 2 of those bastards' cannons. Although it was a very simple description, Zhang Xinlin was very engrossed in it, causing Lin Ruashi to feel as if she was there herself. She felt a little excited about the urgent situation at that time. She asked, "Then didn't your company commander get discovered?" Zhang Xinlin said sadly, "How could he not be discovered? Our company commander was shot into a hornet's nest by a few monkeys from the Indian Army. Even his bones were smashed, so pitiful, not pitiful at all. As a soldier, it's luck to survive, but it's fate to die." Zhang Xinlin grinned. "You don't know this, Ruashi. At that time, our whole company went crazy. When we saw our company commander die, we all ran into the forest at the side. Taking advantage of the fact that the hundreds of Yin soldiers were having a headache over the loss of the 2 cannons, he cut right into the middle of the group and started a fierce fight with them across the forest. I remember that at that time, there was a bullet flying past my ear, and I felt a burning pain. 2 of my comrades beside me fell, and they were still pulling the trigger before they died. One of them had his eye blown out, and that way of death. I still dream about it." Lin Ruashi seemed to be infected by the passion of the scene and asked, "Have you avenged your captain?" "Yes, we fought that small battle for 1.5 hours. In the end, only me and another comrade walked out of the forest. The others were all dead, and so were the enemies." Zhang Xinlin let out a long sigh and said heavily, "At that time, we didn't care about life and death at all. There was only one thought in our mind, and that was to avenge our company commander. We had completely forgotten about the bleeding and decapitation. Now that I think about it, those days are really unforgettable." Zhang Xinlin's voice was low and hoarse, as if he had already fallen into that hardy and bloody memory. Lin Ruashi, who was listening attentively, also revealed a disappointed look. "Have you said enough? Can King stop farting?" Suddenly, Yang Cheng, who had been silent, raised his head and looked at Zhang Xinlin coldly. "What did you say?" Zhang Xinlin's eyes were like torches as he asked in displeasure. Lin Ruashi was still immersed in that scene that made her yearn for and admire it. Yang Cheng's sudden vulgar words made her very unhappy as well. She asked, "Yang Cheng, how can you be like this? Why are you talking to your senior like this?" Yang Cheng slowly stood up from the sofa and sneered. "Why are you talking to me like this?" "Because you, this senior, are talking nonsense. Mr. Yang, even if you are Ruashi's husband, I can't tolerate you tarnishing the honor of our soldiers like this. You have to give me a reasonable explanation." "Explanation? Do you deserve to know?" Yang Cheng sneered, turned around, and was about to leave. Lin Ruashi stood up and shouted, "Yang Cheng, stop. Finish your words. I won't allow you to be so impolite to my senior." Yang Cheng let out a long sigh and turned around to look at Lin Ruashi. But just this one glance made Lin Ruashi feel a chill in her bones. She had never seen Yang Cheng reveal such a look before. Desolation, sorrow, despair, emptiness, and gloom, as if it was a bottomless hole. It made one's heart and soul feel haggard. Lin Ruoshi was stunned. Zhang Xinlin, however, didn't notice that at this moment he had already stood up, puffed out his majestic chest, and looked at Yang Cheng with a burning gaze. He couldn't accept that this mediocre man, who he thought was not competitive at all, would actually become Lin Ruoshi's husband. But he knew that an impatient and unreasonable way would make a woman like Lin Ruoshi feel disgusted, so he decided to slowly let Lin Ruoshi lean towards his side. But slowly, it didn't mean that he could tolerate this insignificant man provoking him. Yang Cheng closed his eyes, and the complicated look in his eyes disappeared. What was left was a teasing look, and he said to Zhang Xinlin, who had an arrogant look on his face, "Senior Zhang, please allow me to speak the truth. Those so-called hot-blooded stories of your life on the battlefield, in my eyes, are simply children's play and fairy tales for your own amusement." "What did you say?" Zhang Xinlin's eyes were already emitting flames. Yang Cheng wasn't afraid at all. He sneered and said, "You don't know what a battlefield is at all. You have never seen a real battlefield. Could it be that Mr. Yang has seen it before?" Zhang Xinlin said disdainfully. Yang Cheng took a deep breath and said calmly, "Yellow soil and sand are everywhere. From head to toe, there's nothing but blood and sweat on your body. There's no water or food. There's not a single complete person lying beside you. If it's not hands and feet, it's head and internal organs. You can't even tell if they are your comrades or your enemies. Other than the sound of explosions from the mortars and cannons, the sound of bullets is as light as a fart. If you stick your head out a little, a grenade might just hit your head. Even if you don't move, a shell will hit your trench. You will never know in 1 second that you will lose a leg or an arm in the next. You won't even know how you died. When you see any living thing in front of you, no matter what it is, your first reaction is to shoot. Who cares if it's a civilian, enemy, or your own people? F***CK, humanitarianism. F***CK, the battlefield, and not hurting civilians. As long as it's someone standing in front of you, they have to die. When you see your comrades in arms fall by your side, when you see your superiors and good brothers being blasted into pieces by the enemy's artillery, you won't feel sadness, joy, or any other feelings. You will only have one emotion. That is, it's lucky that it's not me who dies. When you can't even care about your own life, and your life and death are already hard to grasp, who the F***CK still has the time to care about the life and death of others? Revenge? That's something only an idiot would do. If you can't win, run. Even if you can win, let yourself live first. When you're alive, you can have anything. When you're dead, everything is F***king bullshit." At the end of his sentence, Yang Cheng was almost shouting these words at the top of his lungs. Not only did his resolute tone cause Lin Ruoshi to be so moved that she couldn't speak, even Zhang Xinlin, who was full of rage just a moment ago, felt a chill down his spine for some reason. What kind of charaba was that? What kind of hell was that? Only those devoid of humanity can be considered a battlefield. The bullshit you said is just something shown in movies for primary school students to watch. After Yang Cheng finished speaking, he strode out of the house. He needed to buy a pack of cigarettes as soon as possible. After speeding on the highway once, the violent emotions in his heart made him feel oppressed and uncomfortable. When he walked out of the door, Mother Wang, who had just returned from shopping, happened to see Yang Cheng. But before she could greet Yang Cheng, she saw Yang Cheng quickly get into the car, and the car roared as it drove away. Mother Wang felt a little strange. She walked into the villa to take a look and was instantly dumbfounded. Lin Ruoshi and Zhang Xinlin stood in the living room in a daze, as if they had lost their souls. Yang Cheng drove to the nearest small store and bought a pack of the worst quality cigarettes that cost 2 yuan. After stuffing a pack of cigarettes into his mouth, he returned to the car. After starting the car, it sped towards the ring highway. The traffic flow on the highway at night was especially sparse. The M3 was like a bolt of lightning in the night, whistling as it swayed left and right to overtake other cars. After more than 10 minutes, Yang Cheng had finished smoking 3 cigarettes, and his mood was much better. He randomly found an intersection to get off the highway and found an empty space to park the car. After walking out of the car, Yang Chung looked at the bright moon in the sky and laughed at himself. It was really not worth it to have such a huge emotional fluctuation because of that Zhang Xinlin's senseless words. It seemed that even though his temperament was much calmer than before, he was still far from being able to control his emotions. Especially when faced with sensitive topics, it was still difficult for him to control his emotions. After calming down his thoughts, Yang Chung then noticed the place where he had parked the car. He looked to both sides and was instantly stunned. It was actually the riverside food stall that he had accompanied Mo Chiani to twice. The brightly lit riverside path not far away showed that the food stall was still doing very well at the moment. After drinking a bellyful of alcohol at night and chatting with Zhang Xinlin after returning home, Yang Chung felt hungry. He suddenly thought of the Xiang Sa food stall that Mo Chiani had brought him to eat at. Therefore, he slowly walked towards the direction of his memory. 2 minutes later, Yang Chung arrived at the Xiang Sa food stall that hadn't changed much. Wearing a red apron, Annie Xiang's forehead was full of sweat. When she saw Yang Chung walking over, she immediately recognized him and greeted him enthusiastically. "Isn't this little Yang? You're here to look for Nizi, right?" Yang Chung was a little puzzled by Auntie Xiang's greeting. However, following the direction that Annie Xiang was pointing at, he suddenly saw Mo Chiani, who was wearing a white dress with black polka dots at the waist, sitting at a corner of the food stall. She was alone, eating a table of side dishes and leisurely refilling her glass of Kaoyang wine. Mo Chiani's posture was very elegant. Even though she was alone, eating the most ordinary and coarse food from the food stall, her every movement was as if she was drinking a bottle of aged red wine that cost a few thousand and eating a top-notch caviar that was more expensive than gold. Yang Chen couldn't help but think of a phrase, "a woman as lonely as smoke." Chapter 136. Do you mind if I sit here? Yang Chung approached slowly, not disturbing Mo Chiani, who was drinking by herself. Mo Chiani heard the familiar voice and raised her head slightly. Perhaps she had been drinking for a while. The woman's pretty face had 2 lines of intoxicating blush, which made her extremely beautiful. "How come it's you?" Her voice was a little unreal, but there was a little surprise in it. Yang Chun leisurely sat down, minding his own business as he peeled open a pair of hygienic chopsticks, ate a piece of spiced beef, and said, "I came out for a stroll and accidentally came here. Coincidentally, I was hungry and thought of this food stall. Who knew? So you're here as well." Mo Chiani saw that Yang Chung was not lying and said with a faint smile, "Do you know what you said is actually a song?" "What song?" "Please allow me to settle the dust, bury the past with silence. I came from the sea, covered in wind and rain, live in seclusion in this desert. The things that should be hidden are always clear. Thousands of words can only make me speechless. Love is the superstition of the right time and place. Oh, so you are here too." Mo Chiani sang softly. Her voice was delicate and soft, and the song, "So You Are Here Too," seemed to be narrating some sad past. "You sang it very well, although it was the first time I heard this song." "That's because we are indeed here." Mo Chiani poured herself another glass of white wine and took a sip. Yang Chen recalled the first time he came here with Mo Chiani. She was also drinking alone like this, just like those heroines from ancient times who roamed the world and treated the 4 seas as their home. She sat in a dilapidated straw hut with a pot of wine and a plate of food. While she looked carefree and unrestrained, she was also lonely. Perhaps no one would have thought that the confident and glorious department head Mo would have such a simple and unpretentious side. For a while, the two didn't speak, and the atmosphere was silent. After Mo Chiani finished a glass, she finally found that the bottle was empty, and she didn't seem to want more. She looked at Yang Chung with a complicated expression and asked, "You really came out for a ride?" Yang Chung was stunned. Actually, he didn't want to face his senior, Lin Ruoshi, which was why Zhang Xinlin didn't go back. Thinking of the friendship between Lin Ruoshi and Mo Chiani, he suddenly asked, "Miss Mo, do you know Zhang Xinlin?" "Zhang Xinlin? How do you know him?" Mo Qianyi seemed to find it strange too. When I returned home today, that Zheng Xinlin was chatting with Ruoshi in the living room. However, I didn't really like to listen, so I came out, Yang Chun said simply. Mo Qianyi looked at him with a meaningful look and said with a playful smile, "You have a sense of crisis?" "What crisis?" "The crisis of having my wife snatched away." "Are you kidding me? I'm not the king of the mountain in ancient times. How can he snatch my wife away to be the wife of the leader of the stronghold?" Yang Chung said loudly. Mo Qianyi snorted lightly. Back when Ruoshi was in university, she didn't even have many female friends who could get close to her, but Zheng Xinlin, that senior, was the only one she would see almost every day. At that time, many people thought that this pair of campus beauties and campus hunks would end up together. What a fantastic couple. Unfortunately, Ruoshi suddenly dropped out of school and returned to Yulei to take over the position of CEO, and Zheng Xinlin followed his family's request and joined the army. Otherwise, I don't know what would happen now. What a pity. That guy is obviously a second-generation rich kid. Yang Cheng's expression changed slightly, and he finally felt a little uncomfortable. When he thought about how that guy met Lin Ruoshi every day, Yang Cheng regretted that he didn't beat him up before they left. Anyway, it was all over. Mo Qianyi pretended to be emotional and said, "Yeah." As soon as he came back, he went to Zhonghai and became the CEO of Changlin Media. Although it's only a part of the Zheng family's assets, he is still the CEO of a listed company. He's young and rich, has the looks of a campus hunk, and is the CEO of a big company the moment he takes office. Just like you said, it shouldn't be a big deal. Yang Chung frowned and asked, "Is the company called Changlin Media very big?" It was originally a media company from another province, and its headquarters is in Beijing. But because of Zheng Xinlin's return, they moved to Zhonghai directly. They could be considered as one of the top 10 media and entertainment companies in the country, almost on par with our Yulei. But they have the Zheng family's tens of years of accumulation as their trump card. It's not something that our Yulei can compare with alone. Mo Qianyi said logically. "Looks like you know them very well. Have you specially investigated them?" Yang Chung asked. Mo Qianyi rolled her eyes at him. Changlin Media isn't a small company, and it belongs to the fashion industry, just like us. Of course, the news of them entering Zhonghai is worth my attention. But I heard from you that Zheng Xinlin went to your house to visit Ruoshi in the middle of the night. It seems like he's taking the initiative to express his goodwill and hopes to form an alliance in the future. Alliance my ass. It's fine if it's just work, but if you have other intentions, I'll kick your balls. Yang Chung thought unhappily. A chilly night breeze blew past. Mo Qianyi shivered and said, "It's very late. Can you send me back?" "You didn't drive?" Yang Chung asked curiously. "It's all because of you. After the incident last time, my car's lock was destroyed by those people. After I opened the door, I couldn't lock it again even if I wanted to. Taking advantage of the holiday tomorrow and the day after, I left it at the Audi 4S shop for maintenance. I originally planned to take a taxi back," Mo Qianyi said with hidden bitterness. The incident that Mo Qianyi was talking about was naturally the incident where she was kidnapped by the 3 Jinnins from Yamada sect. Yang Chung smiled apologetically. After that incident, Yamada sect didn't seem to dare to make a move on Mo Qianyi again. This also made Yang Cheng's worried heart relax a little. After all, if they really made a move, he would definitely have to use some means to defeat or kill them. After all, they weren't ordinary people, and doing that was really a risky thing to do. Last time, when he was facing dozens of gunmen, he exploded with murderous intent and used psychological tactics to oppress his opponents. Only then did he have enough time to make a move and finally cause the symptoms of losing control. If it was an ordinary killing, although it wouldn't be so serious, after a few times, the condition that had just gotten better would eventually return to its previous state. This was also the reason why Yang Chung didn't easily go head-on with the 3 people who were looking for trouble with him. Every time, he would stop when it was appropriate and let them retreat on their own. Yang Chung only hoped that the 3 of them would behave themselves, or that the people from Yellow Flame Iron Brigade would meddle in other people's business and help him send them back to Japan, so that his old head wouldn't hurt. However, It was obvious that as long as Yamada sect didn't harm Huasia's interests, Yellow Flame Iron Brigade wouldn't easily start a war with Yamada sect. If they wanted to deal with the three Jinins, they would definitely have to pay a heavy price. Sending Imo Chini home seemed so necessary. He owed her too much. The two of them didn't have a deep relationship, but because of him, she was kidnapped. Yangcheng would feel bad if he didn't send her home. After getting in the car, he followed Imo Chini's instructions and drove for more than 20 minutes before arriving at Imo Chini's apartment. It was a small bungalow complex located in the southern suburbs of the city. The scenery was elegant, the roads were clean, and the atmosphere was very bourgeois. It was already midnight. After the car stopped in front of Imo Chini's apartment, Imo Chini didn't get out of the car immediately. Under the dim light in the car, a questioning look appeared on her charming face. "Where are you going?" Yang Cheng was stunned. "Where else can I go? Of course, I'm going back. It's already very late. It'll take about half an hour to get back to Dragon Garden from my place," Imo Chini said. "What else can I do? I can't sleep at your place, right?" Yang Cheng joked. "Sure." Imo Chini's answer was so sudden that it made Yang Cheng a little confused. In the dead of the night, a man and a woman were alone. The woman was a feast for the eyes, and this beauty even took the initiative to suggest that he could spend the night in her little nest. One had to know that Yang Cheng wasn't averse to a night of sex. Moreover, the other party's beauty definitely wouldn't mistreat him. However, thinking that Imo Chini was Lin Ruashi's good sister and that she looked very calm at the moment, he hesitated and asked, "Miss Imo, I'm afraid this isn't a good idea. Don't let your imagination run wild. Even if I'm really thirsty, I won't be that desperate. I just feel that if you go back at this late hour, you'll be disturbing Ruashi and Mother Wang's rest. Moreover, you must be very tired after coming all day. You even sent me home. Out of humanity, I should repay you. If you don't want it, it's up to me." The girl had already said so. If he continued to be coy, he wouldn't be a man. Moreover, Yang Cheng was indeed tired from driving. Although his body wasn't tired, his heart was. "Well, thank you for your pity, Miss Imo." Yang Cheng smiled and turned off the car. Hearing Yang Cheng agree, Imo Chini's lips revealed a hint of joy, but she quickly concealed it and said, "Get off the car. My house is on the 3rd floor. Hey, wait." Yang Cheng stopped Imo Chini and said a little shyly, "Let's agree in advance. You can't do anything to me when I'm sleeping." Imo Chini really wanted to give this shameless man a slap. She gritted her teeth and said, "Don't worry, a pig is sleeping in my house. No matter how strong the pig is, I won't like it." Yang Cheng thought seriously and said, "It's not that Miss Imo doesn't like it. It's that pig thing. Ordinary women can't stand it. What's with this guy's brain? Does it have horns?" Imo Chini was about to vomit blood. Chapter 137. After following the angry Imo Chini all the way to the 3rd floor of the apartment, they came to a green security door. Imo Chini took out the key to open the door and said, "You are the first man to enter my apartment. You should thank your 8 generations of ancestors. You got lucky. If I knew my ancestors, I would definitely go and thank them." Yang Cheng curled his lips and said, "Wasn't that right?" He didn't even know who his parents were. Taking off his shoes and walking into the 1-bedroom apartment that Imo Chini rented alone, Yang Cheng smelled a light lemon fragrance. As soon as the light was turned on, the furnishings in the room came into view. A simple moon-white sofa, a silver-gray 42-inch TV hanging on the wall, and a pot of daffodils on the glass coffee table. The floor-to-ceiling windows were covered with light gray tassel curtains. In the direction of the kitchen stood a refrigerator. It was worth noting that there were countless sticky notes on the refrigerator door, which should be used to remind something. The kitchen was full of pots and pans, and all kinds of seasonings were scattered around. There were many kinds of spicy sauces, which were colorful and eye-catching. The layout of the whole house was very simple, but didn't seem empty because there were too many messy things scattered in every corner. Most of the things were all kinds of papers and documents, which were thrown everywhere. There were also all kinds of fashion magazines, newspapers, and brochures on the table, chairs, sofa, and floor. Yang Cheng's first impression was that she lived a simple life, often cooked, worked hard, and didn't care about trifles. This was very in line with the intuition that Mo Chinny gave him. Mo Chinny's face was slightly red. She also realized that the house was a bit messy. She walked to the refrigerator and took out a mineral water from it and poured a cup for Yang Chung. She said, "I live alone. Anyway, there are no guests. It's not very tidy, but there's nothing dirty." Yang Chung naturally didn't care much about this. He pointed to the sofa and said, "I'll sleep here tonight. I think this sofa is big enough." "That's fine. I want to let you sleep on the floor. I'll bring you a blanket later. It's very cold here at night." Mo Chinny nodded and turned to walk into the bedroom. Yang Chung yawned and saw that there were many magazines scattered on the sofa. He walked over and bent over, wanted to move these magazines away so that he could sleep comfortably. But just as he picked up an autumn magazine, a small black object suddenly appeared under Yang Cheng's eyes. If he wasn't mistaken, this was a pair of women's sexy underwear. It had a black lace pattern, and the tulle design made the underwear look transparent. The teabag style made the middle part of the underwear look particularly slender, like a thin ribbon wrapping around the back of the buttocks. Yang Chung swallowed his saliva. In his mind, the image of Mo Chinny's plump and perky but wrapped in this underwear appeared. Oh no, this underwear couldn't wrap it at all. Two white and tender buttocks would drown that pitiful little ribbon. A girl wearing this kind of underwear was definitely not to protect certain parts of her body. It was purely to seduce men to look at certain parts of her body. Women were contradictory creatures. Their underwear was like the secret at the bottom of their hearts. It was tightly hidden, but it was eager to be seen by men. There was no doubt that Mo Chinny was a single and beautiful woman. In the eyes of many people, she was a self-disciplined and strong woman who couldn't be profaned. They had never heard that she had a boyfriend or had an affair with a man. Many employees in the company even thought that this charming female superior was a lesbian and didn't like men. But she bought and wore this kind of underwear. Some of the hidden feelings contained in it must be her secret. In order to not be too embarrassed later, Yang Chung felt that it was better to put the underwear elsewhere and pretend that he didn't see anything. Looking at the bedroom door, Mo Chinny still hadn't moved. Yang Chung quickly picked up the underwear. The small underwear felt very soft to the touch. It should be very comfortable to stick to a woman's sensitive parts. Yang Chung could even smell a strong scent of Mo Chinny's body. As a normal man, Yang Chung immediately had a physiological reaction. His little brother was a little swollen. After all, as long as he thought of Mo Chinny wearing this kind of underwear, it would be hard not to have his blood boil. Just when Yang Chung was hesitating about where to hide the underwear, Mo Chinny suddenly flashed out of the bedroom door with a towel blanket. "Yang Chung, you can use..." Mo Chinny was halfway through her words. Her eyes instantly locked on the small black object that Yang Chung didn't have time to hide. Yang Chung was also confused for a moment. His imagination ran wild, and he didn't notice Mo Chinny's sudden appearance. Both of them stood there in a daze, especially Mo Chinny. After a moment of shock, her face was burning red. Her moist eyes flashed with nervousness, shame, anger, and many other emotions. She was like an active volcano that was about to erupt. Yang Cheng's smile was uglier than crying. This was great. He was holding onto someone's sexy underwear in a daze, and he was caught red-handed. It would be strange if he wasn't seen as a wretched man. When Yang Chung was ready to be bombarded, Mo Chinny unexpectedly didn't shout. She just walked forward with a complicated expression. She put the blanket on the sofa and walked in front of Yang Chung. She grabbed her little secret from Yang Cheng's hand and held it in her palm. She bit her lip and asked with a dazed look, "Pervert, have you never seen a woman's underwear before? Why are you in a daze?" "I have seen it before, but I have never seen such a beautiful one." He had seen it and smelled it. What was there to be afraid of? Hearing this, Mo Chinny's eyes sparkled. Her tender and beautiful face was about to drip water, and her heart was thumping. But she couldn't help but ask, "Is it really that good? And it matches you very well." "Go to hell. You haven't seen me wear it. How do you know it matches me?" As soon as he said this, Mo Chinny felt that something was wrong. Why did it seem like she was asking him to see her wear it? She was so ashamed that she wanted to crawl into a hole. Yang Cheng also felt the ambiguity between the two. What made him feel strange was that such an abrupt conversation was very natural. It didn't make him feel uncomfortable. After his heart calmed down, Yang Cheng didn't avoid it anymore. He said with a smile, "If you really want to wear it for me to see, I don't care. At most, I won't say anything after I see it. In your dreams, let your wife wear it for you to see." Emo Chini coquettishly rolled her eyes at him. She took her underwear to the bathroom and said, "I want to take a bath. If you're tired, you can sleep first. If you want to watch TV, you can play it yourself." The bathroom of Emo Chini's home was opposite her bedroom. The door couldn't be seen from the living room, so even if Yangcheng was there, she didn't avoid anything. She took the change of clothes and walked in. Yangcheng tidied up the magazine on the sofa, turned off the energy-saving light in the living room, and lay down comfortably. He was too lazy to take off his clothes. He just covered himself with a towel and a blanket and began to prepare his pajamas. Not long after, Yangcheng's sensitive ears heard the hua 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 sound coming from the bathroom. He just saw Emo Chini's personal items, and it aroused a trace of evil desire. At this moment, when he heard the sound of the bathtub, he couldn't help but think of the image of Emo Chini taking off her clothes and entering the bathtub. In the middle of the night, in a quiet small apartment, a man and a woman just had some ambiguous friction with each other. If something happened next, it would seem reasonable. Of course, Yangcheng was just thinking about it casually. If he really broke into the bathroom to do something, not to mention that it would be difficult to meet in the company in the future, if it was brought to the attention of Lin Ruoshi, the sky might be turned upside down. After taking a deep breath, Yangcheng gradually calmed down his turbulent mood. He listened to the sound of the water and gradually fell asleep. After more than half an hour, the bathroom door was quietly opened. Emo Chini, wrapped in a snow-white towel, walked out softly in a pair of flip-flops. She looked at Yangcheng, who was asleep on the sofa. After confirming that Yangcheng wasn't looking at her, she walked into her room with small steps and closed the door. In the bedroom, Emo Chini pulled off the only white towel on her body and casually threw it on the floor. The soft yellow light shone on the woman's red and smooth skin, revealing a glossy luster. Facing the dressing mirror, Emo Chini quietly looked at her exposed pink and tender body. Her tall figure, plump and straight snow-white peaks, tight waist, round and perky buttocks, and her whole body showed a soft and full curve. She was like a perfect ivory work of art with the golden ratio, so impeccable. Flipping her wet long hair, Emo Chini muttered to herself, "Emo Chini, Emo Chini, why do you always look at yourself? What's there to be narcissistic about? No matter how good-looking you are, only you can look at yourself. What? You said you're thinking about men? Come on, what's so good about stinky men? Appreciate yourself. This is called self-confidence." After muttering a few words to herself, Emo Chini began to sit naked on the big bed and dry her hair. Then, she put on a pink and somewhat childish nightgown. While absent-mindedly drying her hair, Emo Chini looked at the door from time to time. This was the first time she brought a man to her home. She didn't understand why she suddenly sent him an invitation. Was he the one who sent her back at night? Did he see that he was too tired and felt pity for him? Or was it because she had been alone for too many years, alone in an empty house? She felt too lonely and needed someone to accompany her? No. Why would she be afraid of loneliness? She had been alone since she was a child. This little bit of loneliness was nothing. She must feel pity for him. But why did she invite this man? When he agreed to spend the night here, why was she so happy? He was her good sister's husband. What if there was a misunderstanding? She clearly hated him before. What was he doing now? Was he asleep? Or was he thinking about something? Or was she dreaming? Emo Chini felt that her heart was in a mess. It was so late, and she should have a good rest after working for a week. But as long as she thought of the man sleeping in the living room outside the door, lying on the sofa where she usually sat and read magazines, she had the urge to go and take a look. Why did she want to go out and see him so much? Emo Chini thought about it and found a very reliable reason for herself. She was afraid that he had bad sleeping habits and would easily catch a cold if he kicked the blanket on the ground. So, as the host, she had to go out and see how the guest was sleeping. This couldn't be more normal. With a reason to embolden herself, Imo-Chini couldn't care less about her half-dried hair. She tiptoed to the bedroom door in her slippers and walked to the sofa where Yang Chung slept. Chapter 138. Imo-Chini was like a silent cat. She walked to the sofa and saw Yang Chung, who had fallen asleep on his side. The room was very dark. Only a few broken lights shone through the gap of Imo-Chini's bedroom door, allowing Imo-Chini to see Yang Cheng's appearance. At this moment, Yang Chung seemed to be asleep, breathing evenly. The blanket was simply covered below his abdomen, and his body was motionless. Imo-Chini stretched out her fair palm and waved it back and forth in front of Yang Cheng's closed eyes. Seeing that Yang Chung did not respond, Imo-Chini pursed her lips and smiled. She mouthed playfully, "Stupid pig." Then Imo-Chini squatted down and hugged her knees with both hands. Her line of sight was at the same height as the sofa and level with Yang Cheng's head. In the hazy darkness, Imo-Chini looked like she was admiring a piece of art. She tilted her head, and a pair of bright gem-like eyes were half open. She looked carefully at Yang Chung. The man's unadorned messy hair, thick black eyebrows, slightly long eyelashes, straight nose bridge, and well-defined lips. After knowing him for so long, this was the first time she saw what he looked like at such a close distance. Looking at him from this angle, he was actually not ugly. It was just that he was usually mischievous and often joked with her, which was a little naughty. Imo-Chini recalled the first time she met Yang Chun. During the interview, she appeared as calm as ever, but in her heart, she was awed by this man whose foreign language ability was terrifyingly strong. She really couldn't understand why this sloppy-looking man would have such language ability. Later, she seemed to be in conflict with him. She had never seen such a disobedient subordinate who did not give face to his superior, but he did not allow her to fire him. She thought of ways to take him to a gangster company to collect debts, but she did not expect this guy to really get the money back. She had once again turned herself against her. She had originally planned to continue thinking of ways to mess with him, but she didn't expect it to be her good friend, the husband of the president. At that time, apart from being angry, she also felt a little jealous. She really didn't understand herself. After that, things became more and more ridiculous. She was kidnapped with Ruashi, and this man came alone. Her greedy stepfather came looking for her, and this guy settled it, easily ending the grudge that had lasted for nearly 10 years. And most recently, he was kidnapped as a hostage and used as a tool for those bad guys to threaten him. Didn't this guy sell mutton skewers before? What did the mutton skewer seller have that was worth coveting? Imo-Chini couldn't figure it out, but the more she couldn't figure it out, the more this mysterious man felt like a black hole absorbing all her attention, and she couldn't help but think of him when she was in a daze. Unforgettable scenes kept flashing in Imo-Chini's mind, and the woman's expression also became colorful, sometimes depressed, sometimes happy, sometimes thoughtful, sometimes curious. Gradually, Imo-Chini's gaze on Yang Chung became more and more deep, and she couldn't shift it away. The heart that had been indifferent for many years began to have a pulse of breaking out of its shell, causing Imo-Chini's breathing to quicken unconsciously. A bold idea suddenly popped up. I really want to kiss him. Just one kiss, kiss his face, close her eyes and not look. Just one touch, and then leave. He won't wake up, right? So what if he wakes up? It's not like he'll suffer a loss if I kiss him. Will I get pregnant with a kiss? Even if I get pregnant, he won't give birth. Imo-Chini pursed her plump lips, her mind in a mess. She realized that this idea was wrong, but she couldn't control the suppressed emotions at that moment. Just one kiss. One kiss will be enough. Constantly convincing herself, Imo-Chini slowly closed her eyes and pouted her rosy lips. Her young kissing posture was like a budding girl giving a kiss. Her delicate body in the pink pajamas trembled slightly. Her face flushed, and she kept approaching Yang Chung. But because she had been squatting, her feet were already numb. Just as she leaned forward, she felt that her feet couldn't support her body anymore. Left with no choice, Chini could only leave her knees and grope for the sofa, giving herself a posture that would save her energy and then continue kissing. She couldn't care too much. The idea of kissing made this mature beauty, who was full of emotions, unable to care too much about being reserved. This was the first time she took the initiative to kiss a man, and she must have a comfortable and complete memory, even if the other party was asleep. Huh? What is this? Chini's left hand, which was touching the sofa, suddenly touched something hard. The strange touch made her subconsciously stop kissing, and she frowned as she rubbed that thing. The more her soft little hands caressed it, the harder it felt. It seemed to have grown by a size. What was even more strange was that it actually had a fiery feeling to the touch. Wait, why is it still erect? Chini wasn't a little girl who didn't know anything, and after thinking carefully, she suddenly realized what it was. With a scream, Chini felt like she was pushed back by a wave of air. Her hands retracted, and she fell to the ground, embarrassed and angry at the same time. Yang Chung, you bastard. In the dark, Yang Chung, who had been pretending to be asleep, finally couldn't pretend anymore, and he awkwardly opened his eyes. Shan Shan smiled and sat up from the sofa. In fact, Yang Cheng's years of sleeping habits made it impossible for him to have a real deep sleep. So the moment Chini walked out of the bedroom, Yang Chung was already awake, but he didn't expose her. What happened next made Yang Chung even more afraid to wake up. This woman was like a little love-struck fool, squatting in front of him and staring at him blankly, lost in thought. Yang Cheng's night vision was specially trained, and just by opening his eyes a little, he could clearly see everything about Chini. That delicate appearance that could outshine the moon and shame the flowers, and the seductive body fragrance that exuded after the bath, instantly made Yang Chung have the most primitive physiological reaction. This stupid woman still didn't know that her squatting posture just happened to squeeze the two soft and tender lumps of flesh on her chest, and from the collar of her pink lace pajamas, he could see the unfathomable ravine. This kind of temptation made Yang Chung have the experience of fighting between heaven and man. What happened next was even more strange. Chini actually pouted her rosy lips and wanted to kiss him. Yang Chung wasn't an emotional idiot, and even if he was stupid, he could still understand that this woman was aroused. Although he was surprised that Chini had this kind of feeling for him, in the current situation, Yang Chung didn't dare to wake up at all. If he woke up, it was tantamount to telling Chini that he had been pretending to be asleep. Therefore, Yang Chung had to pretend that he didn't know anything, thinking that after Chini finished kissing him, he would think about how to deal with the relationship between the two in the future. Who knew? Chini unexpectedly put her warm little hand on his family jewels, and even very considerately rubbed and pinched. How could Yang Chung, who was already stimulated by the erotic scene, stand this kind of provocation? Reflexively, his family jewels moved a few times. At this moment, his fake sleep was exposed. While Yang Chung was embarrassed, he also didn't know what to say. After all, Chini's actions from the beginning to the end were in his eyes, and the relationship between the two became subtle. Chini sat on the floor, biting her cherry lips, and her eyes were a little moist, as if she was wronged and angry. You were awake from the beginning, right? Chini asked. Yang Chung nodded silently. Then you knew what I was doing from the beginning to the end, and you have been watching me make a fool of myself, right? I didn't watch you make a fool of yourself. Shut up. Chini smiled sadly, and her tears finally couldn't help but flow down. In the darkness, it seems so crystal clear. You don't have to comfort me. I'm not a little girl who takes things too hard. I'm not that fragile. Yes, I'm such a shameless woman. I couldn't help but want to kiss you. Kiss my good sister's husband. You saw it. But don't worry. Now you tell me how stupid that decision was. Even if I was blind, I shouldn't think that you are a man worthy of being kissed by me. This time I was wrong. After tonight, I won't have that kind of ridiculous idea anymore. Yang Chung, you better not provoke me in the future. As soon as she finished speaking, Chini immediately stood up from the ground. She stared at Yang Chung resolutely and quickly ran back to the bedroom. Yang Chung was stunned on the sofa, and he smiled bitterly. He didn't expect Imo Chini to be so excited. It seemed that it was better to show that he was awake from the beginning, and he wouldn't have made such a big mistake. This is great. If I meet her in the company in the future, I don't know what expression I should have. Looking at the bedroom door that was closed, it wasn't difficult for Yang Chung to imagine how gloomy Imo Chini's mood was at the moment. He felt a little guilty in his heart, but he also knew that no matter how much he comforted and explained, it was useless. He had to lie down again and sleep for the night. He would deal with it in the future. The next morning, when Imo Chini walked out of the bedroom with red and swollen eyes, Yang Chung had already left the house. There was a folded towel blanket on the sofa, and that was the only proof that last night wasn't a dream. Imo Chini almost didn't sleep for the whole night. She looked at the blanket with a complicated expression, scratched her disheveled hair, and walked to the bathroom. She brushed her teeth and washed her face as usual. Back in the bedroom, she sat in front of the dressing mirror. Imo Chini looked at the red and swollen eyes in the mirror and her haggard face. She sighed and said to herself, Imo Chini, you have to cheer up. Isn't it just a man? You made a mistake. At worst, you can find a better one in the future. Kissing him right in front of him. Piss him off. After that, Imo Chini nodded at herself in the mirror and began to skillfully put on makeup. 10 minutes later, Imo Chini put down her lip gloss. She only put on some light makeup, and the woman in the mirror became gorgeous and charming again. Even the swollen eyes became less obvious. Imo Chini clapped her hands at herself in the mirror with satisfaction. She waved her little fist and said confidently, Imo Chien and I, you're the best. Go, go, go. At the same time, Yang Chung, who drove back to Dragon Garden early in the morning, didn't know that the strong woman that filled him with guilt had once again become 100 times more energetic. When Yang Chung opened the door of the villa and walked into the living room, it just so happened that Lin Ruoshi was sitting there eating breakfast. At this time, Yang Chung suddenly remembered that he hadn't returned home all night after making a scene last night. It seemed that he had forgotten to call home. While having a bad feeling, as expected, 2 bone-chilling gazes swept over him. Yang Chung couldn't help but shiver. He spent the whole night at his wife's good sister's place and almost had something with that person. With a guilty conscience, Yang Chung could only smile exceptionally brightly and walk toward Lin Ruoshi. Chapter 139. Lin Ruoshi had already finished eating. She put down her chopsticks and elegantly wiped her mouth with a wet napkin. She meticulously folded the napkin and put it away. She didn't bother to look at the smiling Yang Chung. She moved from the dining table to the sofa and sat down. She picked up the remote control and turned on the TV. Yang Chung was thinking about what to say, but just as he was about to say a few words, the news on the TV made Yang Chung shut his mouth. The headline of the morning news in Zhonghai was prominently labeled Terrorist Bank Robbery Reappears. On the screen was a bank in Zhonghai that had its facade and many walls blown up. The inside of the bank was surrounded by a yellow police cordon. Many medical personnel were transporting and rescuing bank staff and customers who had been carried out. Many people on the side of the road were pointing and gossiping, and many relatives were crying and scolding the police. According to the reporters at the scene, at noon yesterday, at the bank that was blown up, 7 or 8 robbers drove into the bank in a modified Ford with a medium-sized submachine gun. Not only did they make off with nearly 10 million yuan, but they also killed a large number of staff and customers. In the end, using the modified car's speed and driving skills, they escaped with the hostages to the outskirts of Zhonghai, deceiving the police and evading their pursuit. There are such brazen bank robberies in our country. Yang Chung frowned and asked Lin Ruoshi, who was watching the TV intently. Lin Ruoshi glanced at him coldly and didn't say anything. She continued to watch the TV. Yang Chung didn't ask for a rebuff. He smacked his lips and continued to watch the news. After a while, the scene shifted to the interview area for the police. The interviewee who appeared on the TV was someone that Yang Chung knew. She had a head of short hair, a delicate oval face, and charming facial features. Although she was wearing a loose police uniform, one could still see the curves of her body. It was Yang Cheng's old rival, one of Lin Ruoshi's few good friends, Choi Yun. But then again, it made sense. Choi Yun was a superintendent and the chief of the West Side Police Department, so it was normal for her to be on TV. However, Choi Yun was clearly in a terrible mood at the moment. Her brows were furrowed and her expression was ice-cold, giving off the feeling that she was about to fly into a rage at any moment. A lot of reporters saw Choi Yun's expression and didn't dare to ask any questions. An old reporter from Zhonghai radio station was pushed forward to ask, "Chief Kai, this is the second bank robbery in 2 months. According to the witnesses, the criminals are also from the same group. In the past 10 years, there has never been a bank robbery in Zhonghai City, but in the past 2 months, there have been 2 robberies. The relevant leaders of the municipal government are very angry. May I ask, as the new chief of the Western District, what do you think?" Choi Yun was silent for a moment before she said, "This criminal has enough firearms, complete equipment, meticulous planning, and professional robbery methods. He should be an organized criminal gang. Their sudden appearance in Zhonghai was most likely due to smuggling into the country. Traces of their crimes have been found in other coastal provinces before, but they had never been arrested. It's a dereliction of duty on our part. On behalf of the West Side Police Department, I apologize to the victims." "What's the use of apologizing? Our money. Where are the lives of the dead? What are the police doing? Get out of here and find someone else." The scene was a bit chaotic. A victim's family member yelled crazily outside the reporters, followed by many people scolding the incompetence of the police. Choi Yun's face showed a bit of pain, but her expression was firm as she said, "I, Choi Yun, promise everyone here that I will definitely bring all the criminals to justice. If there is a next time, I will voluntarily resign and will no longer be involved in the police force." This piece of news was released yesterday afternoon, but it was only released this morning. It was obvious that the municipal government had carefully considered it. After all, this kind of thing would cause panic among the public. However, the paper could not cover the fire, and there were too many onlookers. At this time, they could only release it to let everyone know. After watching the news, Lin Ruoshi suddenly turned off the TV, then picked up the cordless phone beside her and dialed a number. "Hello, Yonyan, it's Ruoshi. Are you okay? That's good. Take care. Say hello to Uncle Kai for me. Bye." In less than 15 seconds, Lin Ruoshi hung up the phone again and stood up, intending to go upstairs. Yang Chung was quite emotional. This woman was even so cold to her good sister. She was obviously worried, but she only said a few words. Could it be that she had a psychological problem, like the language barrier? Seeing that Lin Ruoshi was about to go upstairs without saying a word, Yang Chung couldn't help but ask, "Baby Ruoshi, aren't you going to ask your husband where I went last night, and why I didn't call home?" For Yang Cheng's various intimate names, Lin Ruoshi was not as disgusted as she was at first. She was completely immune to it. At this moment, when she heard Yang Cheng's question, she stopped walking on the stairs, turned around, and asked expressionlessly, "I ask you, will you tell the truth? Tell the truth? Say that I accompanied Mo Chieni to eat at the food stall for the 3rd time. Say that I went home with her. Say that Mo Chieni wanted to kiss me, and I pretended to be asleep to wait to be kissed by her? Or do I feel very guilty towards Mo Chieni now?" Yang Cheng finally understood why Lin Ruoshi could be the president and manage such a big company. Finally, she glanced at Yang Chung, turned around, and walked back to the study. Chapter 140. It was a sunny Sunday morning, but Yang Cheng's original plan to go out to bask in the sun and doze off was ruined by Lin Ruoshi's sudden pile of documents. "Here you go. You have to finish reading them all. I've already booked the plane tickets for you and Chieni. Wednesday's flight. You will be back within a week." Lin Ruoshi, who was only wearing a white silk nightgown, took out a briefcase out of nowhere. She threw it on the sofa and turned around to eat the breakfast that Mother Wong had prepared. Yang Chun could only resentfully turn off the morning news he was watching. Actually, he mainly felt that this radio station's female anchor was rather pretty, and her voice was pleasant to listen to as well. But right now his wife had an order, and he also agreed to take on the project yesterday, so he could only start looking at the information. As long as he promised, he would do it well. This was Yang Cheng's principle. He took out 3 large stacks of documents from the briefcase. They were densely packed with words and diagrams. After a rough look, Yang Cheng roughly understood what the collaboration project was about: the research and development of new environmentally friendly materials. At first glance, this kind of material research and development project had nothing to do with a fashion industry company like Ulay International. After all, Ulay International operated fashion brand sales, fashion department stores, clothing, accessories, exhibitions, advertising, entertainment media, and so on. This kind of material research and development was more like a chemical and research project. However, as one of the most important industries in the new century, the environmental protection industry, fashion products became more and more important to the health of the users and the protection of the environment. Many developed countries had already started to regulate products made of non-environmentally friendly materials. Products made of materials that were difficult to recycle were strictly prohibited. Products that could protect the user's health and could even be recycled. At the same time, products that could be recycled and had low costs and high profits were naturally more popular among consumers and countries. From the materials, it could be seen that the most basic applications were new plastic materials and fiber materials. These materials could be used to manufacture clothing, mobile phones, electronic products, and fashion accessories. These products would all be the most competitive products in the future fashion industry. So it had to be said that they had a lot of research value. Think about it. When you make a phone call, your mobile phone will give you some blood circulation in your ears. How happy would that be? What was the most important? Health. However, although this idea was good, Ulay International was more of a distributor and product designer. In terms of scientific research, it was only at the beginning stage. Therefore, if they wanted to be one step ahead, the best way was to borrow the resources of other companies and cooperate with them to gain benefits. Of course, even if Lin Ruoxi and Zheng Xinlin could think of this, it didn't mean that the other companies could think of this and find a way to do it. Therefore, the secrecy at this stage was very important. After Yang Cheng had a general understanding, he began to look at the specific development guidelines and the terms of the project to be negotiated next week. Although he did not understand many professional terms, it was not a problem for him to understand 70% to 80% of it. Lin Ruoxi sat at the Western dining table and ate her oatmeal in small mouthfuls. Because it was Sunday, it was a rare opportunity for her to relax. She went downstairs in her pajamas. Her long hair was messy and some of it was knotted. She did not have any makeup on, and the cold laziness that came from her bones made her originally perfect appearance appear a little refined. Seeing Yang Cheng frowning and looking at the documents carefully, Lin Ruoxi could not help but smile. Although purposely making use of Yang Cheng's dislike for Zheng Xinlin to force him to participate in the work was a scheming thing, Lin Ruoxi did not feel that she had done anything wrong. In her eyes, Yang Cheng had a lot of untapped potential. It was just that he was too lazy and didn't have any desire to improve himself. If she could properly motivate him, this cheap husband of hers, who did not come from a noble background, would still become a horse that would make people look at him in a different light. She also did not want to be a talent scout. She only hoped that one day, when she walked out with him in public, other people's gazes would not be focused on her beauty, but on Yang Cheng's identity and status. Women always hoped that their men were worthy of respect and admiration. They would be jealous, but they would also feel proud. Even someone as indifferent as Lin Ruoxi was no exception. Seeing that Yang Cheng was looking at the documents seriously, Lin Ruoxi nodded her head in satisfaction. But at this moment, Yang Cheng's phone rang. Yang Cheng put down the documents and picked up the phone. It was Li Jingjing. Jingjing, what's wrong? Brother Yang, did you forget? You promised me that you would accompany me to a place. Today is the weekend, and the weather is good. I think you should be free. Of course, Yang Cheng did not forget. Thinking that he had enough time to look at the documents, he said, "All right, where should I pick you up? Let's go to school. I just took some things from school, and will wait for you at the school gate. See you later." Li Jingjing seemed to be in a good mood. Yang Cheng hung up the phone and shouted to Lin Ruoxi, who was sitting at the dining table, "I'm going out for a while. Leave the documents here first." Lin Ruoxi, who thought that Yang Cheng was serious just now, felt that the beautiful scene in front of her eyes was instantly shattered. She was so angry that she almost threw the spoon in her hand to the ground. Seeing that Yang Cheng patted his butt and directly walked out, the first thing that came to her mind was a saying, "A leopard can't change its spots." Of course, if one thought about it in a more vulgar way, it would be a dog can't change its eating that. Yang Cheng received a lot of salary this month, and with the tens of thousands of yuan that he extorted from Wuziheng, he was very well off. Even if the price of oil was skyrocketing, he still filled up the BMW with the most expensive gas before going to Zhonghai to pick up Li Jingjing. When Li Jingjing, who was wearing a blue bubble dress, appeared in his field of vision, Yang Cheng was once again captivated by the girl's youthful and energetic appearance. Ever since she graduated from university and became a teacher, Li Jingjing had indeed become more and more beautiful. Not only did she know how to better highlight her own characteristics, but she also had an intellectual and confident temperament. Her skin was like cream, her collarbones were delicate, her fine black hair was combed behind her head, and her forehead had a 3/7 parting fringe. Standing there and waving at Yang Cheng with a smile, she immediately attracted the jealousy and hatred of many men passing by. The video of the Jiang family's father and son finally allowed Li Jingjing to no longer be entangled in any way. Her work and life in school and at home were more on track. Her mood was good, and naturally, she was radiant. Yang Chen got out of the car and found that there was a large cardboard box next to Li Jingjing. It was tightly wrapped, and he asked, "What's on the ground?" Li Jingjing blinked. "It's a secret." Seeing that the little girl was in a good mood, Yang Chen couldn't help but reach out and scratch her delicate nose, causing Li Jingjing's pretty face to turn red. "Get in the car, I'll put the box in for you." After Li Jingjing got in the car, Yang Chen asked, "Where's the mysterious place you mentioned?" "Zhongnan Avenue North Road." After Li Jingjing told him the address, she smiled and asked, "Big brother Yang should be free in the afternoon, right?" "I'm fine, why?" "That's good, because if we go there, we may only be able to leave at night," Li Jingjing said. Yang Chen didn't ask much. After driving for less than half an hour, the car arrived at the address Li Jingjing mentioned. After taking a closer look, he was suddenly puzzled. There were several neat 3-story buildings surrounded by dense yew trees in the middle. The green area was very large, and there was a white and black sign hanging on the gate, "New Hope Orphanage." Helping Li Jingjing carry the large cardboard box, the two of them walked all the way into the orphanage. Li Jingjing knew that Yang Cheng had a lot of questions, so she slowly explained, "A while ago, I brought the students to the welfare homes and nursing homes in this area to do volunteer work, such as cleaning and so on. When I came to this orphanage, I thought that the children here were very cute, but they didn't have parents since they were young. How pitiful. So I played some games with them. After that, some children asked me if I could come and play with them again. Of course, I said yes, so I came here a few times by myself. But it's really tiring to accompany so many children alone. I don't have many friends in Zhonghai, and the students are all in their 3rd year of high school. I don't want to affect their studies, so I thought of inviting Big Brother Yang to play with them. To be honest, I don't really like it here." Yang Cheng smiled bitterly. "But I can understand your feelings." Li Jingjing was stunned and said apologetically, "I'm sorry, Big Brother Yang. I forgot that you're also an orphan. It's okay, I'm already used to it. I'm just curious about how you wanted to play with them." Yang Cheng asked. Li Jingjing pursed her lips and smiled. "Actually, I was also inspired by another sister. The second time I came here alone, I met a very beautiful sister. I thought she was the most beautiful woman I had ever seen. I heard from the dean that she often came here to tell stories, solve riddles, and read some interesting things to the children. The children liked her very much, and she's been doing this for many years. I admire her very much, and I want to do something for the children like her. I was thinking if I should bring some books for the children, learn from that sister, and tell meaningful stories to the children. Maybe this is better than playing games, and it's not so tiring." Yang Cheng nodded. "So your box is filled with books?" Not all of them. Without waiting for Li Jingjing to finish, a short middle-aged woman wearing a black dress came from the corridor and called out with a smile, "Jingjing, you're here again." Li Jingjing saw the person and smiled sweetly. "Yes, Dean Cha. How can I forget my appointment with the children?" She pointed at Yang Cheng and said, "This is Brother Yang Cheng, my friend. He came with me to play with the children today." Dean Cha warmly greeted Yang Cheng and said mischievously, "Not your boyfriend, right?" "No." Li Jingjing blushed and said, "Brother Yang is already married." "Don't talk nonsense, Dean Cha." Dean Cha was a little surprised, but she still smiled and apologized to Yang Cheng. Yang Cheng naturally didn't mind. After all, according to the current situation in Huaxia, it was really early for him to get married at his age. He followed Dean Cha all the way into the courtyard. For what she said, the children were reading Tang poems together, so it was quiet outside. When they walked to a corner in the middle of the courtyard, a mimeographed portrait hanging on the wall in the middle of the courtyard attracted Yang Cheng's attention. Yang Cheng felt that a certain nerve in his mind was touched, but he didn't know why he had such a wonderful feeling. He just stopped and looked at the hanging oil painting in a daze. Chapter 141. Li Jingjing and Principal Cha noticed Yang Cheng's strange behavior and stopped in their tracks. Seeing him staring at the portrait hanging high on the wall, Principal Cha smiled and said, "This is Madame Guo Xuehua, the founder of our New Hope Orphanage. She has founded more than 100 orphanages, and every orphanage has a portrait of her to show everyone's respect for her." It was also Li Jingjing's first time hearing the name Guo Xuehua. She looked up and saw that the woman in the portrait looked to be in her 30s. Her black hair was tied up in a bun, and her face was round and jade-like. She looked graceful and dignified at the same time. She had the temperament of a prestigious family. She made people feel close to her, but at the same time, they didn't dare to look at her for too long. "Brother Yang, what's wrong? Do you know Madame Guo?" Li Jingjing asked curiously. Yang Chun shook his head gently. Smiling, he said, "Men always stare at beauties more often than not." Li Jingjing rolled her eyes at him and didn't pay much attention to him. They followed Principal Cha inside, but Yang Cheng's mind was still on the portrait. He felt that he had seen that woman somewhere before, but he couldn't remember where. This feeling made Yang Cheng feel a little uncomfortable. It was best not to think too much about it. When she entered a large hall, she finally saw a large group of small children. They were all dressed in colorful clothes. The boys and girls all had bright, black eyes. When they saw Li Jingjing walk in, they revealed childlike and joyful expressions. They could not care less about the poem they were still reciting and quickly rushed over. Sister Jingjing, I want to play games. I want to see you draw." The group of children immediately surrounded Li Jingjing and made all kinds of naive little requests. Li Jingjing smiled happily and accepted them one by one. Her body was pulled here and there by them. Fortunately, children didn't have much strength. Otherwise, Li Jingjing's clothes would have been torn. Yang Chun felt his scalp go numb, but he couldn't just run away. He put down the box and opened it. Sure enough, there were a lot of books with rich illustrations inside. What made Yang Chun more interested was that Li Jingjing also brought a lot of puzzles. Obviously, one puzzle was enough to keep the children busy for a long time. Li Jingjing was slacking off. Half a day passed much faster than Yang Chun expected. Other than having a simple lunch, the group of children tirelessly surrounded Li Jingjing. They wanted to listen to Li Jingjing's stories and wanted Li Jingjing to teach them how to draw watercolors. Halfway through, Li Jingjing's throat couldn't take it, so she asked Yang Cheng to tell the story for her. But when the children heard Yang Cheng's dry voice, they sulked and pouted to show their dissatisfaction. Yang Cheng left the stage dejectedly and continued to play his pitiful role, making Li Jingjing, Director Cha, and several other staff members of the orphanage giggle. When it was almost sunset, the children listened to Director Cha's advice and let Li Jingjing go. She would play with him again next time. As for the boring Yang Cheng, he was directly ignored. Outside the orphanage, a group of children with big, shining eyes kept saying goodbye to Li Jingjing. A few of the little girls even had tears in their eyes, making them look very lovable. Li Jingjing waved at the children while holding back her tears. She pursed her lips and smiled reluctantly. When she sat in the car, Li Jingjing immediately took out a tissue to wipe the corners of her eyes. She sobbed for a while. Every time I say goodbye to the children, I can't help but want to cry. They're so young, and they already lost their parents. Brother Yang, you must have had a hard time when you were a child. It must have been hard on you. Yang Qing curled his lips and smiled. It's okay. I'll get used to it. Sometimes, many things can make me forget about my parents. When you walk the line of life and death every day, you don't have time to care about your parents and relatives. Yang Cheng thought to himself. Li Jingjing said faintly, I only hope that the stories I tell the children and the small gifts I give them can make them happier. Although my family was very poor when I was a child, I felt like the happiest child in the world when my parents were with me. They must be very envious of those children who have parents, but unfortunately, they can't have them. Yang Cheng saw the sad look on the girl's face. He thought for a while and asked, Teacher Li gave so many gifts to the children today. What would you like for yourself, Teacher Li? Li Jingjing pouted. Brother Yang, don't joke around. I'm not a child anymore. Only children don't have the right to get the gifts they want. You've been busy for most of the day. Your brother Yang has decided to reward you. Yang Cheng said seriously. At this moment, the sun had already set. The light of the setting sun spilled into the car and dyed it with a faint golden aftertaste. The car was very quiet. They could hear each other's breathing. Li Jingjing's eyes were a bit intoxicated. She seemed to think for a long time. A touch of pink appeared on her face. I want love. Brother Yang, can you give it to me? After saying that, Li Jingjing lowered her head. She didn't dare to look at Yang Cheng again. The smile on Yang Chen's face disappeared, and he became silent. Li Jingjing's sudden words were like a heavy hammer, smashing on his heart. I don't want much. I don't want a house. I don't want a car. I don't want money. I don't want fame. I don't want status. I just want love. I just want Brother Yang to pay attention to me and love me. But the only thing I want may be the only thing I can't get. Yes, maybe he could give her anything. But what she wanted, he couldn't give her. Yang Cheng sighed. I'm sorry. I didn't expect it to be like this. But you are a very good girl. You are still young. I think you will have a good husband. At that time, I can be your brother and attend your wedding. After saying this, Yang Cheng felt very uncomfortable. Li Jingjing raised her head. Her eyes were slightly red, but she still had a smile on her face. Brother Yang, don't say these things. Otherwise, you'll be like my mother. Every day, she will urge me to get married. It's so annoying. Your parents are old. Of course, they will look forward to holding a grandson. That is also human nature. Well, Brother Yang, don't say these comforting words to me. In fact, I feel a lot more relaxed after saying what's in my heart. In short, I don't want to get married yet. Maybe after Brother Yang and sister-in-law divorce, I will have a chance. Don't count on me. I'm not a good man. Yang Cheng felt that in front of Li Jingjing, he was indeed a bit hateful. Li Jingjing shook her head. Whether you're good or not is not up to you men to decide. It is up to a woman. This seemed to make sense. Every carrot had its own pit. She had dug a big pit, although it was a bit inappropriate to say that a man was a pit. Oh right, Jingjing. Yang Cheng thought of something. Last time, you said that you wanted to move out. Have you thought it through? I have. I'm looking for a house, but it will take a while. I don't want to renovate or buy furniture. That is too troublesome. I plan to rent a small house. With my current salary, it shouldn't be too difficult. Li Jingjing said. Yang Cheng nodded. When a girl grew up, she would gradually become independent. Looking at the slightly depressed Li Jingjing, Yang Cheng didn't say anything. He started the car and sent her home. The weekend passed in the blink of an eye. It was Monday again. Although Yang Cheng accepted the task given by his wife, the CEO, this project would not be publicized. Therefore, there was no need for a transfer or promotion. He would only be the project director on special occasions. Therefore, early in the morning, Yang Cheng bought a lot of breakfast, as usual, and brought it to the public relations office. As soon as he entered, the most gluttonous Zhang Kai was the first to rush up. She took 2 bags of fried buns and a bag of milk and started to eat heartily. When the other beauties saw Zhang Kai's table manners, they couldn't help but grit their teeth. They were puzzled. Why did Zhang Kai eat so much, but her figure didn't change? Other than her plump face, there was no other reaction. When breakfast was almost distributed, Yang Cheng suddenly realized that Zhao Hongyan, who was sitting closest to him, wasn't here. Thinking about what happened last Friday night, Yang Cheng felt that things weren't going well. At this moment, Lu Mingyu suddenly rushed in from the door. She was wearing a light gray professional suit. Because she walked quickly, her face was slightly flushed. Her expression was a little agitated. She walked all the way to Yang Cheng and asked anxiously, "Yang Cheng, what happened between you and Hongyan?" Lu Mingyu's voice was very urgent. All the women in the office heard it clearly. They all looked at Yang Cheng in surprise. Yang Cheng frowned. "Sister Mingyu, what's wrong?" "Hongyan's husband, Yu Guang, and her brother-in-law, Yu Hui, are both here. Hongyan looks terrible. She looks like she was beaten up. Yu Guang is yelling that he's looking for a man named Yang Cheng. His words are very unpleasant, and he's causing a ruckus in the lobby," Lu Mingyu said angrily. Yang Cheng's face darkened. Zhao Hongyan didn't contact him for the past 2 weekends. He thought that it wasn't a big deal, but now it seemed that Zhao Hongyan didn't have a chance to contact him after what happened. Or maybe she didn't want to talk to him. If it wasn't for the weekend, her husband would have dragged her to look for him 2 days ago. "Take this." Yang Cheng stuffed the rest of the breakfast and soy milk into Lu Mingyu's hands. Lu Mingyu hurriedly caught it and asked, "What are you doing?" It's time for the man named Yang Cheng to appear. Chapter 142. When Yang Cheng walked out of the elevator on the first floor, there were a lot of people standing in the lobby in front of him. They were all gathered around the guest lounge in the lobby. Several ULA international security guards were maintaining order. They seemed to be arguing with someone, but for some reason, the security guards didn't dare to make a move. When Yang Cheng walked to the edge of the crowd, quite a few people noticed him. After more than a month, many people in the company had more or less gotten to know Yang Cheng. At this moment, they immediately looked at him with a gloating expression. Some men even raised their thumbs up, as if they were praising him for something. Of course, quite a few people also looked at him with disdain. As the crowd took the initiative to make a path, Yang Cheng easily walked to the lounge where the leather sofa was placed and saw the situation in front of him. In the lounge by the floor-to-ceiling window, 2 men and a woman were sitting on a long row of sofas. Opposite them stood a few ULA security guards who didn't know what to do, as well as the front desk manager in a black and white uniform with a deep frown. Among the 2 men, one was Yu Hui, whom he saw that night, and the other was a man in an old-fashioned gray suit. He looked to be in his early 30s, but he wore a pair of black-rimmed glasses. His square face was full of accumulated anger, gloomy and with a bit of arrogance. As for the woman, she was Zhao Hongyan, who didn't come to work in the morning. At this moment, Zhao Hongyan's face was very ugly. She didn't put on any makeup. Her hair was messy, and there were still traces of tears on her face. She sat beside the man in gray, nervously with her legs crossed, motionless. The sharp-eyed Yu Hui was the first to see Yang Cheng walking in. His eyes flashed a trace of pride and ruthlessness. He pointed at Yang Cheng and shouted, "Brother, look, this man is the man who is with sister-in-law." Zhao Hongyan raised her head. Seeing that Yang Cheng had really come to the scene, her eyes showed a bit of panic. She bit her lip and wanted to say something, but didn't dare to speak. "What's the matter?" Yang Cheng glanced at the noisy Yu Hui, but still turned to ask the gloomy Yu Guang. Yu Guang stood up and looked at Yang Cheng with a bit of disdain. He asked in a deep voice, "Are you the one who helped this bitch bully my brother?" "Bitch? Younger brother?" Yang Cheng smiled and asked, "Who are you talking about?" Yu Guang shouted angrily, "Don't play dumb. Xiao Hui already told me about what happened that day. You went to bar with this B*TCH and even had a rendezvous in the parking lot. My brother saw it and exposed you, and you even worked together to chase him away. Do you really think you can fool me, you filthy piece of trash?" The surrounding ULA international employees all revealed a look of realization and became more and more excited, whispering incessantly. Yang Cheng sighed. "Do you really trust your brother that much? It might not be the case. Don't tell me that I don't believe in my own younger brother, but a scum like you?" Yu Guang said loudly. "Let me tell you, You must give me an explanation today. Yang Chung found it a little absurd and asked, "What kind of explanation did I give you? I want you to admit in front of everyone that you had an illicit relationship with my wife. You are a third party. You did something worse than pigs and dogs with this *tch. Yu Guang's face was cold. Yang Chung couldn't help but laugh out loud. Is there something wrong with your brain? Let's not talk about how I didn't do anything wrong. You want to say that your wife is *tch in front of everyone, and force another man to say that there must be an illicit relationship between them? Are you trying to ruin your family's reputation? Or are you here to torment me? Or do you enjoy being treated like an idiot?" Yu Guang's face turned red, and he said hatefully, "You dare to scold me. I am a cultured person. I won't lower myself to your level. But I'm going to expose adulterers like you to the light of day to correct the social order." "Are you a professor or a government official?" Yang Chung suddenly asked. "What do you mean?" Yu Guang frowned. "If you're a professor, then I understand. That is a profession that likes to bullshit. If you're a government official, then I also understand, because they always like to lie through their teeth." Yang Chung said with a smile, "I am a chief editor, the chief editor of Guanghua Daily and Morality magazine. A lowly person like you will definitely not understand the level of thinking of people like us. Also, let me tell you, you have no right to talk about professors and government officials. They're the elites of society. People like you only know how to say that the grapes are sour because you can't eat them. I have seen a lot of trash like you." Yang Chung scratched his head and asked the nervous receptionist, "Are the newspapers and magazines famous? Why haven't I seen them before?" The pretty receptionist was about to cry. She couldn't even carry out her normal work on the first floor with such a trivial matter so early in the morning. She forced a smile and replied, "They are all political magazines, the most authoritative national journals in Shanghai." Yang Chung nodded and smiled embarrassedly. "I really don't know. I only read magazines and newspapers with beautiful women. But now I understand why you're talking nonsense." "Vulgar," Yu Guang said righteously. "Only an uncultured person like you would do such a dirty thing with this *tch. I advise you to admit it in front of everyone here, and I will let you live. Otherwise, we will meet in court." "What do you want to see in court?" Yang Chung sneered and said, "To see if the judge will give your wife to me or me to give my wife to you. Dream on. With you like this, even the sow in my house may not want you." Yu Guang was obviously not good at cursing people. He stomped his feet and turned around to pull up Zhao Hongyan, who was sitting there with a sad face. He pointed at Zhao Hongyan's nose and scolded, "*tch. Say it in front of everyone. Tell me the whole truth." Zhao Hongyan's eyes were filled with tears as she asked with grievance, "What do you want me to say? You still don't want to admit it? I'll say that you have a shameful and dirty relationship with this wild man, so that I can openly divorce you." Yu Guang said arrogantly. Guang, I have said many times that there is nothing between me and Yang Chung. Don't do this anymore. It's not what you think." Zhao Hongyan begged. "Let's go back, okay? I will explain it to you slowly. I really didn't do anything wrong to you. Can you believe me?" "Shut up." Shao Wei saw with his own eyes that you tricked me into going to the bar. This is all evidence. You still want to deny it?" Yu Guang's eyes widened. "Do you know how embarrassing you are now? You don't dare to say it?" Guang, today is already embarrassing enough. Our Yu family can't afford to lose face like this. Let's go." Zhao Hongyan reached out to pull Yu Guang's hand, but Yu Guang pulled her hard. She couldn't stand still, and her body turned sideways. She was thrown to the ground. Yu Guang sneered and said, "You dare to say that you are a member of our Yu family? Our Yu family is upright and upright. How can we have a *tch like you, who has an affair with a wild man? Today, I want to expose your true colors in front of the people in your company, so that you won't harm others after I divorce you." Zhao Hongyan's face was ashen. The moment her body was thrown to the ground by Yu Guang, other than a sharp pain in her knees, she felt as if her heart was shattered. She sat on the cold ground in a daze, tears unconsciously dripping down her cheeks. Yu Guang, who had been watching the show, had a somewhat sinister smile on his face. It was as if seeing Zhao Hongyan's current appearance made him very happy and comfortable. Yang Cheng narrowed his eyes, walked forward, bent down, and reached out to Zhao Hongyan to pull her up. Yu Guang, who was embarrassed and anger, saw this scene and immediately shouted, "Everyone, did you see that? This is irrefutable evidence. This adulterous couple is finally showing their true colors. Why don't you admit it?" At this time, many of Yulei's employees already felt that Zhao Hongyan was very pitiful. After all, most of them were women and always looked at things with a tolerant and understanding heart. However, this so-called chief editor of a big publishing company had a somewhat extreme and eccentric way of thinking, so everyone was too lazy to pay attention to him. "Get up. He's not worth sitting on the ground for. He's not worth your tears." Yang Cheng ignored Yu Guang's clamor and said softly to Zhao Hongyan. Zhao Hongyan raised her head. For the first time, she appeared in front of Yang Cheng without makeup. Her pear blossom face, which was stained with tears, lost some of its former charm and gained a little more purity. Making eye contact with Yang Cheng from those bright and calm eyes, Zhao Hongyan saw something solemn, and warm for the first time. "Thank you." Zhao Hongyan took Yang Cheng's hand and stood up while wiping her tears. Yu Guang sneered, Good. What a pair of infatuated man and resentful woman. If I knew that you were such a fickle vixen, I wouldn't have married you at all. Fortunately, it's not too late now. I'll go divorce you later." At this time, an onlooker couldn't help but say, "Sir, don't you know that the law states that divorce requires both parties to sign an agreement? It's not ancient times where the husband can just divorce his wife with a divorce letter. This is a society ruled by law. Okay? That's right. Who didn't make a mistake? You're too harsh, making such an uproar." A few girls also expressed their support for Zhao Hongyan. Yu Guang glanced at them arrogantly and said, "What do you people know? Our old Yu's daughter-in-law should get out of the house if she did something wrong. Whether she wants to or not, she has to leave." "That's right, brother. These are all part-time workers. They don't know anything. How can they compare to our family?" Yu Hui fanned the flames. Yu Guang glanced at his younger brother with satisfaction. "Xiao Hui, it's all thanks to your cleverness this time. Otherwise, your brother might have been deceived by this woman for a long time. That would be too unfair to the ancestors of the Yu family. I don't know what your so-called old Yu family is, but I'm sure it's not something worth me understanding." Yang Cheng shook his head and sighed. "Our Yu family is not a thing." Yu Guang corrected him solemnly. Yang Cheng smiled. "It's up to you. If you say it's not a thing, then it's not a thing. But what I want to tell you now is that I did have an affair with your wife." As soon as this sentence came out, not only was Yu Guang stunned, but the other employees who spoke up for Zhao Hongyan were also dumbfounded. Yu Hui, who knew the truth, showed a puzzled expression. The one who was the most frightened was Zhao Hongyan herself. Yang Chun, what nonsense are you talking about?" Zhao Hongyan's cheeks reddened as she pulled on Yang Chen's sleeves. Without waiting for Zhao Hongyan to say anything, Yang Cheng suddenly reached out and pulled Zhao Hongyan's soft body into his arms. One of his hands even skillfully stroked the woman's waist and buttocks intimately. Chapter 143. The change in the scene made everyone suck in a breath of cold air. What was this man thinking? Zhao Hongyan felt her buttocks being covered by a fiery, big hand. That hand even very contentedly rubbed and kneaded her tender flesh a few times. While Zhao Hongyan wanted to die of shame, the unusual sensitivity made her legs weak, and she couldn't even muster the strength to resist. The surroundings were filled with Yulei International employees, and right in front of her was her husband and brother-in-law, but this man's hand was touching her buttocks. What was worse was that she didn't even have the strength to struggle away. Zhao Hongyan felt her heart jump to her throat. It was more exciting than riding a roller coaster. She was afraid that the people around her would see her abnormality, but she also faintly looked forward to it and enjoyed it a little. When a person surpasses their mental endurance, they would often be able to see their truest side. At this moment, Zhao Hongyan blushed in her heart as she realized that she actually didn't reject Yang Chen's somewhat excessive actions, because her lower body had already started to overflow with dew. Was she really a fickle woman? This ethical question made Zhao Hongyan forget the awkward situation in front of her and fell into her own thoughts. Yu Hui saw the woman he yearned for day and night in Yang Cheng's arms, and even touched her buttocks. He was so angry that his teeth itched, and he said to his silly eldest brother, Yu Guang, "Eldest brother, he's doing this because he looks down on you. Looking down on you is equivalent to looking down on the entire Yu family. We can't tolerate it." Yu Guang was just angry at Yang Cheng's audacity, but after hearing his younger brother's explanation, he also immediately became hot-headed. "Yang Cheng, are you provoking our Yu family? So what if I am? If you dare to say it again, do you know what the consequences are?" Yu Guang angrily rebuked. Yang Cheng was too lazy to speak again. The corner of his mouth slightly raised, and he suddenly reached out with his other hand and used 2 fingers to gently pinch Zhao Hongyan's smooth and round chin. Zhao Hongyan was in a sluggish state and didn't resist at all. She let Yang Cheng pinch her chin, and her head was slightly raised, her delicate facial features facing Yang Cheng. Her eyes were misty, and it was unknown what she was thinking. The next moment, the crowd exclaimed in disbelief. Yang Cheng lowered his head without hesitation, rubbed his lips together, and kissed Zhao Hongyan. Whether it was the Yu brothers or the employees present, they all watched as Yang Cheng kissed Zhao Hongyan and began to move his lips, immersing himself in kissing her passionately. Zhao Hongyan's mind was completely blank. The moment Yang Cheng kissed her, his fiery breath was like a bolt of lightning striking her already complicated and heavy mind, purifying all her thoughts in an instant. There was only one thought left in her mind, enough to make her heart stop. "He kissed me. He's kissing me. He kissed me." Zhao Hongyan was unable to control her body due to her brain's malfunction. Unknowingly, Yang Cheng had already invaded her fragrant lips, crossed her pearly white teeth, and entwined his tongue with hers. The 2 of them kissed and made all kinds of lingering and seductive sounds. These ambiguous sounds, coupled with such a scene, were extremely romantic in the eyes of many young men and women around them, and many people began to applaud and cheer. Yu Guang and Yu Hui's faces alternated between black and white, and they stood there speechless. After a long time, Zhao Hongyan's eyes were already misty from drunkenness, and her body was soft as if made of water. Only then did Yang Cheng slowly loosen his mouth and let go of this beautiful and breathless colleague. Zhao Hongyan seemed to be unaware, and her cherry lips were still half open as she looked at Yang Cheng. That seductive, mature, and beautiful posture made many male employees feel a strong sense of jealousy towards Yang Cheng. I want to see your boss of Yulei. Immediately, I strongly demand that this shameless and lowly scum be driven out of here. People like him should be put in jail." Yu Guang roared angrily, and the veins on his forehead were somewhat visible. His finger pointed at Yang Cheng, and his body trembled. "Who wants to see me?" A cold and sweet voice suddenly appeared at this time, and all the Yulei employees who heard this voice revealed a nervous look and respectfully turned back to look at the person who came. Lin Ruoshi, who was dressed in a black uniform, was accompanied by her secretary, Wu Yu, and a few senior executives. She walked towards the resting area gracefully in her silver-gray crystal heels. Her face was as cold and dignified as ever, like a fairy who was untainted by the mortal world. "Hello, General Lin." A group of onlookers immediately greeted loudly and bowed slightly, not even daring to breathe loudly. Obviously, Lin Ruoshi's daily accumulated prestige had reached a very terrifying level. Lin Ruoshi coldly glanced at them. "I pay you, not to let you watch the show." As soon as these words came out, everyone seemed to have been injected with stimulants and ran in all directions, hurriedly squeezing into the elevator, running down the stairs, in short, trying to find a way to leave the scene as soon as possible. In their eyes, Lin Ruoshi may be a super beauty, but when a beauty becomes the parent of their livelihood, she may have become a demon. The Yu brothers were also shocked by Lin Ruoshi's appearance. They never thought that such a big company would have such a young girl as the CEO, and her icy cold aura also made the Yu brothers feel weak all over. "Zhao Hongyan, who was being hugged by Yang Cheng, suddenly came to her senses. Seeing Lin Ruoshi's seemingly unintentional gaze, her body bounced away from Yang Cheng as if she was electrocuted. She lowered her head with a flushed face and just wanted to escape the scene, but her feet were stuck to the ground, not daring to move. A pair of moist and seductive eyes quietly looked at Yang Cheng. This man made her miserable, but she didn't know why she couldn't get angry at him. She was really going crazy. Yang Cheng smiled slightly, touched his nose, and didn't say anything. His original plan to prank the Yu brothers was completely disrupted by Lin Ruoshi's sudden arrival. What's worse was that Lin Ruoshi's expression was full of murderous intent. She obviously saw the scene of him kissing Zhao Hongyan in front of his wife, in his wife's company, kissing a female colleague in the company. If it wasn't for Lin Ruoshi, other women would have already bared their fangs and brandished their claws to tear him apart. Lin Ruoshi glared at Yang Cheng, then turned her head to ask the Yu brothers, "I'm the CEO, cum chairman of Yulei International, Lin Ruoshi. What can I do for you?" Yu Guang regained his senses, forced himself to stand up straight, and said, "I'm the chief editor of Guanghua Daily and Morality magazine, the eldest son of the Yu family, Yu Guang. This is my younger brother, Yu Hui. This person from your company, named Yang Cheng, had an affair with my wife, Zhao Hongyan, and he even did that kind of filthy thing on the spot. As the company's CEO, I think Miss Lin should fire all of them." Affair? Lin Ruoshi glanced at Yang Cheng faintly, then looked at Zhao Hongyan's side profile a few times. She felt a wave of helplessness in her heart. She's really pretty, but this guy's standards are really high. Even though I know this guy probably has a lot of fun, but she's a married woman. Can't he control himself? She was just inspecting the office with a few management members and coincidentally came across this kind of thing. Even if she wanted to ignore it, she didn't have the chance to avoid it. Lin Ruoshi felt a wave of bitterness, but when she got married, she said she wouldn't interfere with her husband's private life. Moreover, she never fulfilled her duties as a wife, so she really couldn't open her mouth to stop Yang Cheng's private life. She could only turn a blind eye and swallow her anger. After thinking for a while, Lin Ruoshi asked Wu Yu, who was typing something on her PDA, "Secretary Wu, is there a company rule that male and female employees are not allowed to interact?" Reporting to CEO, there are no related rules. Wu Yu replied bluntly, "Then I'm sorry, this matter is not under my jurisdiction. This is an employee's problem. Please resolve it privately." With that, Lin Ruoshi planned to leave. How could Yu Guang let go just like that? He only thought that Lin Ruoshi was purposely trying to cover up for Yang Cheng and his wife. He said fiercely, "Miss Lin, what you're doing is irresponsible. As an entrepreneur, you should shoulder social responsibility. Such a disgraceful thing that goes against the rules should be punished painfully. If you don't do anything and let the two of them be, I will definitely expose your company's filthy culture in our magazine. I will let everyone know that Yulei International has this kind of adulterous couple." Lin Ruoshi's pretty face was frosty as she turned around. "Mr. Yu, can I interpret these words as a form of coercion?" If Miss Lin insists on thinking that way. Yu Guang was very pleased. He felt that Lin Ruoshi must be afraid. After all, a big company like this was most afraid of having its reputation ruined. Lin Ruoshi suddenly asked Wu Yu, who had been searching for something, "Wu Yu, did you find out?" Reporting to CEO, according to the data, Guanghua Daily and Morality magazine are political magazines founded by the Yu family for more than 30 years. They are mainly distributed to the government departments in the southern region of Huaxia. The total brand value is approximately 5.65 million Huaxia dollars. The Yu family's assets are estimated to be approximately 12 million Huaxia dollars. Wu Yu is like a fast-running smart computer. Knowing Lin Ruoshi's personality, she was already prepared and quickly reported the data. Lin Ruoshi nodded. She stretched her fair and delicate hand towards Wu Yu. Wu Yu understood and immediately took out a checkbook from her briefcase and passed it to Lin Ruoshi. Lin Ruoshi picked up a pen that she carried with her and started writing on the checkbook. The Yu brothers were confused. They didn't understand what Lin Ruoshi wanted to do, but their expressions were tense. Even if this unbelievably beautiful woman didn't speak, the pressure she exuded was enough to make the two men feel afraid. Zhao Hongyan, on the other hand, heaved a sigh of relief. She was originally worried that Yang Chan would be fired because of her, but now it seemed like the CEO didn't have that intention. She carefully looked at Yang Chan, who was at the side, and unexpectedly discovered that this fellow was still there with a relaxed expression and a smile. Oh my God, he's too careless. At this time, Lin Ruoshi finished writing the check. She gently tore it and passed the remaining check back to Wu Yu. This Swiss bank check is for my personal account and has nothing to do with the company's finances. The face value is 20 million Huaxia dollars, which is about 4 million Huaxia dollars more than your newspapers, magazines, and all of your assets combined. You can withdraw it or transfer it at any time at the Swiss Bank of Zhonghai branch. If Misty wants to report on today's event, I don't mind buying all of your newspapers and magazines. Although we are only engaged in publishing fashion magazines, it doesn't matter if we have a small political magazine company with over 90 billion yuan of assets under my company. Don't doubt my determination. In the face of absolute capital, you have no chance of winning. After Lin Ruoshi finished speaking, she casually handed the check to Wu Yu. Secretary Wu, if you see something you shouldn't see, use the method I mentioned. Yes, CEO. Wu Yu steadily put the check in her briefcase. She casually put it away, and it was a huge sum of 20 million. The Yu Guang brothers' lips turned deathly pale. Their legs trembled, and they couldn't speak. They watched helplessly as Lin Ruoshi led the group of executives away, but they didn't have the guts to say another word. If their own business was really bought out, even if they took the money, it would be impossible for them to create such a high-profile magazine in a few years. They wouldn't dare to imagine the consequences. Just when everyone thought the incident was over, Wu Yu, who had followed Lin Ruoshi for a short distance, suddenly turned back. She walked up to Yang Cheng and Zhao Hongyan and said mechanically, "General Lin wants to see you. Go to her office in 5 minutes."